At the end of time.
O'clock.
Hi everybody, what's going on? Hopefully the lighting's okay, the camera's okay. We haven't moved it, so it should be alright, right?
I guess it's alright. Guess it's alright.
Yes, it's alright.
Yeah,
I didn't do anything different.
That's the right color?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
I didn't change it. I didn't change it. I did lower it a little bit, but that's all I did. But that was like days and days ago.
I got my sexual tyrannosaur hat on.
Yeah, I haven't worn that in a while.
I haven't worn this one in a while. Somebody said that this fucking hat was sus. Like, this shit was sus. He said, man, it has the sus. I think he was saying it made me look gay.
Or
Zach, does this make me look gay?
Or it made you look like an actual sexual predator.
I don't know what it is. This is a damn bush hat, man. It's a black one. I got a black one. I got a black one, and I got a damn tiger stripe one.
I can see you do kind of look like you. I'm trying to think of who you remind me of, like wearing that, but I can't think of it. You know.
Make me uncomfortable now. I'm gonna take it out.
No, it wasn't anything bad.
Put this one on now.
It wasn't anything bad.
All right.
I was just saying that it's like it was reminding me of somebody, you know, like from a movie or like a movie character, but I couldn't think of what. And I know not the one from Predator because I know that, but I couldn't think of the one that it was reminding me of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I spilled glue on this.
Well, that's
Gorilla Glue.
That's
It'll come
what
off.
you get.
It'll come on.
Hey, there's weapons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
What's going on? Haven't seen you in the chat for a while.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
The other day I was watching him on his channel.
Yeah, he was because I just went in there
playing a haunted house game. It looked pretty good, or a ghost hunting game.
Oh, what's it called? That sounds pretty cool.
He can say in the comment section.
Yeah. Because I like those kind of. I don't play a lot.
It was for PC though. You can't get it on Xbox.
Oh right, okay.
And it started off as a small game that got bigger and bigger. He didn't really expect it to do anything, but it looked pretty good. He's running around, going into houses and putting up ghost traps. It was, what was it called?
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Zach says, so that movie ruled. I'm assuming you're talking about Killers of the Flower Moon. But screw Regal Theaters for only projecting their movies at half brightness. Assholes. Yeah, that is kind of fucked up. They must have messed that up. Zach says, I also made the mistake of getting a seat in the second front row and had to look up the whole time. My neck hurt so bad. We usually sit, not in this, well, sometimes we sit in the second row. That depends if there's other motherfuckers there, because I like to sit as far away from other people as possible. But, we usually sit in the row, like, right behind where the wheelchair seats are. Because then at least you know nobody's going to sit in front of you, right?
Weapons and stuff said it was Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. Oh.
Yeah.
We might have to look into again. I wonder how much it is.
You can't get it for Xbox.
Well, I could play it on.
Yeah, you can play it out here
if I had time, which I don't. But it's just like it sounds fun though. Oh, and also, because I know when we were talking about like on the movie thing on Monday night when we were talking about the Batman versus Dracula, and you guys had recommended Gotham by Gaslight, and the Doom That Came to Gotham.
Yeah,
we watched both of those.
They're great. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they were really, really good. Actually, Gotham by Gaslight was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
I think that was the better out of the two.
I did too. Yeah, like the Lovecraft one is cool, but like you said, it was almost like it's a Lovecraft story that happened to have Batman in it more than like a Batman story that was like had Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah, it was more like a Lovecraft story.
But
it was good. It's just that was the direction that they wanted. So that was the tone that they selected. So that's what they got.
The Gotham by Gaslight one, I was like, I mean, I know it's about Jack the Ripper, but I was actually like really surprised by how gory it was, like how violent it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Swearing, prostitution, all kinds of stuff was in it.
Yeah, like like fucking blood flying everywhere and stuff like that. I was like, nice.
Yeah, that's a great animated feature.
Yeah, I was into it. I was like, really good.
And it was better than Batman versus Dracula. Even though I liked Batman versus Dracula too. But I think out of the three, I thought that one was the best one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gotham by Gaslight was the best one out of the three that we watched. Also, I finally finished watching Fall of the House of Usher, the new Mike Flanagan series on Netflix last night. I don't know if I'm going to do a review on it because it seems like such a Herculean task, but it was pretty fucking great. I still like Haunting of Hill House better, but it it was still pretty awesome. So, you know. Half Naked You said, I like the drive-in because I hate people making noise and chewing. Well, honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are just watching movies at home now, because like I said, you have a big TV now, you have a sound bar and stuff like that. You don't have some like chode next to you like opening his popcorn really loud and talking during the shit and looking at his phone and all this other kind of crap. Like this is all these lights over here in the corner. Jesus Christ. I don't understand like why full-grown adults cannot just like sit still and shut up for 2 hours. It baffles my mind that they can't do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just stay home and watch the movie if you're going to do that. If you're going to talk during the movie, then, you know, I'm not going to a movie like Velocipaster that I want to like talk all during and like going and seeing that in the theater and spoiling everyone else's enjoyment of it. But apparently other people are not the same, you know. So, you know. All right. So what we're going to do tonight, because it's not close enough to Halloween to be the Halloween show, because Halloween kind of worked out on a weird day. But I wanted to put like a couple of kind of more Halloween-y sort of topics in the poll. So this is the one that won. We actually did a show a long time ago about ghost ships and sea monsters, it seemed heavy on the sea monsters, but we talked about some ghost ships and stuff too. But I wanted to do another ghost ship show because I love ghost ship stories. So I came up with 4 new ghost ship stories that we hadn't covered on the last one. So that should be fun. All paranormal
Hopefully
and creepy
it won't
and
run
shit.
too long.
No, it shouldn't. Like,
Okay.
They're not super complicated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like...
All right.
They're not super complicated stories, is all I'm saying.
All right.
But yeah, so... I think that's what else have we ever seen the movie Ghost Ship? Yes. I don't remember if we reviewed it, but I've seen it. I don't remember if you've seen it or not.
No, it didn't sound familiar. I saw Death Ship.
Yeah, that's a different... Yeah, we saw Death Ship. I think we covered Death Ship, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I remember both of us watching that together. But I've seen Ghost Ship like a couple of times.
If you like Shockwaves with Peter Cushing, you want to see Death Ship. That's good too.
Yeah.
It's about an old Nazi ghost ship. Intelligence. It was some kind of intelligence ship. They were torturing people on the ship. They find it derelict floating out in the ocean. It's haunted as fuck.
It's haunted as fuck.
And
that's pretty fucking haunted.
Yeah. Some of the crew's ghosting in there. And it's filmed on a real ship. It's pretty interesting. This old fucking derelict looking ship. It's what they filmed the movie on it. I saw it as a kid. It was back in the 70s, I think, early 80s. The ship was creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I think most people probably confuse it with Ghost Ship. But Ghost Ship, that was 90s?
Yeah.
I want to say that movie was the 90s. Although the only part, literally, and I've seen that movie like twice, but the only part I remember of Ghost Ship is that iconic opening scene where everybody on the ship gets cut in half by that cord. You know what I mean? Because that's just so... You do that in the first 5 minutes of your movie, you're going to get everyone's attention. But then, like, the rest of the movie can't, like, live up to that. I think that was my main criticism of it. But it's, like, it's a fun movie otherwise, though.
I know y'all want to see me get pegged and shit.
Where'd that come from?
That might happen.
Oh.
Man, I went to the fucking VA, man.
Yeah, he had a doctor's appointment on Monday.
Yeah, I took a fucking blood test. One of the blood tests was for to check for prostate cancer, and the PSA numbers were a little bit elevated since the last 2 years ago that I did it. She wants me to do that test again to see if that number's real. It's only 4. That's not that bad. It was 2 before that, and everything between 2 and 10 is supposed to be okay, but. She's like, well, I want to take that test again, just in case I might have to give you a biopsy. And I said, biopsy? I went and fucking Googled that shit. That involves sticking a rod up your ass with a needle on it.
Yeah.
Fucking stabbing
well,
you
yeah,
in that
they gotta get the sample somehow.
If that shit comes up, you're gonna be, well, I guess I'm dying of cancer. I guess I'm dying of cancer.
That is how committed.
How long do I have to live?
That is how committed to his insistence on not being pegged is. He will not even get a biopsy.
Not gonna let that damn doctor.
What, you want me to come to the office and do it?
I wouldn't trust you with that thing either, man. I saw the fucking drawings, a fucking cutaway section of fucking that dude, a cutaway drawing of that dude on his ass on a table, his fucking legs up in the air like he's in stirrups or something, and they stick that rod in. No, not for me, man. It looks like I'm dying of cancer. fuck no. And it's got a, and then there's fucking and they will stab it in several locations to make sure that we're gonna get a sample out of the whole thing. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm dying of cancer.
I mean, in a way, like, I kind of feel you on that. Like, you know, I'm a woman, so we had to go get, like...
You grew up with that shit.
People, like, sticking stuff up your snatch, like, every year and stuff like that, which, you know, that wasn't fun either. But, you know... And the thing about it, Camp Guy says, don't have a biopsy, I've had one before. He's like, my semen was blood red dark for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, see?
Holy crap. Yeah, Zach says, put me to sleep if you gotta do that shit. Good God.
And here's the thing, man. Fucking those numbers aren't bad. She just scared me, man. She scared me because she knows that I'm on HRT. She didn't like that. She didn't like that.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure she didn't like that.
Although Tom also speculated that maybe she had a crush on him and wanted him to keep coming back.
Could be, too. Yeah. She's about the right age.
What age is she?
About 40, 45.
Oh, okay.
She's about the right age to have a crush on me.
So you're saying
she looked okay.
She's kind of thirsty?
She looked okay, too, yeah. And she just kept asking too many goddamn invasive questions and shit. And
we're just going to have to look at that penis, Tom.
Yeah, and I'm going like, this chick might be some kind of sexual sadist or something. And
might be like that chick that did the sounding video.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to bring my wife with me next time. See what she thinks of you. You know what I mean? And a video camera. Now, if this shit's gonna happen, I'm gonna make money off it.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if you are somehow like convinced to do it, like, at least film it so we can make some money.
And look, they did that biopsy and it came back negative, didn't it? Because she's just trying to fuck with me. That PSA of 4 that shouldn't be bad enough. I researched that shit. And then it said, and I looked at all the studies. They said fucking HRT and shit like that should have nothing to do with PSA numbers, and that should have no impact on any kind of prostate thing. It's just not a factor. That's old thinking, man. That's old fashioned thinking. They're like back in the fucking Torquemada age. They're doing the Inquisition. Okay, they're trying to get me to convert.
I mean, she's really not, because Tom is convinced that all women on Earth want to peg a dude.
Yeah, I know too many of them. Man, we were at the bar, fucking, and Melissa was there, and I fucking brought that up.
Yeah, we met with our friend
she's
Melissa.
like, well, what's the problem with that? What's wrong with that?
Right.
And I was just like, and then her boyfriend was like, yeah, that's right, fuck that baby. So I was going like, she's doing the same fucking thing. She's trying to fucking.
So now he thinks that all women are like
women,
which maybe they do. I don't know, but I can't speak for everybody. But I'm just saying.
It's this anal fixation that they have. It's some kind of fucking quest for vengeance or something, man.
I think
cruel streak. And
it's not. I don't think. Well, it might be
trying to deflower these men.
It might be cruelty, but I think what it is. I don't think it's. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it vengeance, but I think it's like you want men to have like a taste of what you put up with, like what you go through.
With it, yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying like what you know what I mean. It's just kind of like being penetrated.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so, you're just like, well, now you know what it's like. You know what I'm saying?
Men do, man. They're called hyenas. The female hyena pegs the shit out of the males. She got even.
Tom is fascinated by the whole hyena thing.
Yeah,
because she's got her dick is the same size as a male hyena.
I think it's bigger.
Maybe bigger.
And they're dominant. They're dominant over the fucking.
That's
male.
pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. Evidently, the males are all cool. They're like, man, them bitches are crazy. You can make a pet out of a male hyena, not a female.
Please
hyena.
save me.
Yeah, they're like, I can't understand it. I'm nice to her. She keeps jumping on her back and we putting that shit up in there. It's insane.
Hypothetical hyena conversation.
Yeah.
This is what you come to 13 o'clock for.
Dude, I feel you. Fucking,
he gets it.
They you know. You guys are paying for what we're doing. I understand, man. Fucking, you guys getting the shitty end of the stick.
Getting stuff crammed up.
Evidently the male hyenas are cool. But the female hyenas, you can't fuck with them. Their testosterone levels are super fucking high. You know?
Right. Zach says, if it was vengeance for women, then why do gay guys do butt stuff? I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not a perfect theory. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that
they're different. They're different.
Yeah.
Women are different.
Well, no, I'm just saying that I don't know, like if like women that want to peg men like have that, but it's just kind of like I could see that maybe that was like an aspect of it, perhaps.
I just got a feeling. I got a feeling that between the dudes, it's different than it is between the fucking.
Yeah, it's. I don't think the dynamic is quite the same.
Thing, yeah.
No. Mm-mm. Well, like I said, in the dynamic, like I said, I'm not going to speak for everybody because everybody's different. So, you know what I mean. I'm just saying that might be. That's kind of just where my head went to.
Yeah, I'm just still trying to think of how I'm going to deal with this doctor.
Yeah,
I've
he's been
seen
like
him-
ranting about it since he
Oh,
got home.
I've been mad about
Yeah,
it.
he's mad about it.
Mad
Like we
about
drove
it.
down to the liquor store and
I
he's
was
just
mad
like,
about
he's
it.
just ranting about it.
I've
the whole
seen
time
the
in the car.
I've seen the numbers. My numbers fall within a pretty good range, you know. So she's gonna have to convince me, and she's gonna take an awful lot of convincing. I got the right to refuse treatment, and it won't affect my shit.
They can't do anything to you that you don't want them to do to you.
Right.
You
I
know?
can always delay it. But like I said, if there's cancer in there, you want it out before it's too late.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if she's just fucking with me, giving me a biopsy to try to peg my ass just because she don't like me, you know what I mean? That's,
Or because she really likes you.
yeah, or if she likes me too much. Now, you know what I mean? She's like, I walk
Now
out,
I'm gonna have to
I
go
walk
down
out
there
there
and
and she's
investigate.
laughing. She's laughing and high fiving the other nurses and shit. They go, "We got it." See, I'm a man. I don't trust them.
It's like taking pictures of their
Yeah,
phones.
they're like, "We got that motherfucker."
Of them like sticking that thing up your ass.
Yeah, look how he's walking.
We're gonna. I would think that doctors would be more professional than that, but you never know.
No,
you never know.
No.
It never
I'm
really-
friends with doctors.
It never really
No.
occurred to me, like whenever I was going to gynecologists and stuff like that they were doing that shit. But I will say though that in all my years of going to gynecologists, I only ever went to a male gynecologist once, and it was fine. It was a little bit weird, but it was fine. But every other time, I always went to a woman doctor. Because, dude, you go to a dude and say, yeah, my period, this and that. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They don't go through that shit. So it's just kind of like, I really shouldn't need to go to a woman doctor for this kind of stuff. Because at least they know what you're talking about, you know?
Right. I'm gonna ask her. You're trying to get me pegged, aren't you?
Oh my god.
She's gonna be like, what? And
That'd be
it's
so
just, if
funny.
This shit's gonna happen. I'm gonna get my wife down here with the camera. You don't know it. You don't know my side gig. Okay. They got people that would pay for that shit.
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
They will.
I ain't gonna do that though. I've already made up my mind.
But like I said,
I want to see the second set of tests,
okay.
and if I'm not satisfied with those numbers, you know what I mean, I'm within the normal range.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
you know,
I wouldn't worry about it if I were you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like,
Right.
well, look, it's like I haven't had insurance for years and years, and I'm just like, for all I know, I could have fucking cancer. It's just like I don't even want to go. I don't want to know. It's like, you know what I mean?
No, I don't think you do.
It's fine. Well, I don't think I do either.
I check them breasts all the time. Okay.
Well,
so-
there's other kinds.
Yeah,
you
I know. But we're just worried about the fucking breast
You-
cancer. That's the main one.
That's all he cares about. Because he doesn't want
that's
the boobs
No,
locked
that's
off.
the one that gets women the most. Is that one?
I don't
I think they
think
get
that's
that
the
damn ovarian cancer too.
Yeah, and I don't have any symptoms of that or nothing like
There's
that.
always symptoms.
Yeah,
Usually symptoms.
yeah. But well, some kinds of cancers there's not, so you really
Yeah.
gotta watch. But you know what I mean. Yeah, Murder Hornet said, my dad has prostate cancer. Doctor told him he'll die of old age before the cancer. Yeah, because usually, Camp Guy says prostate cancer is usually
Real slow.
a very slow-growing type
Yeah.
of cancer. In most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases. Yeah,
So I'm not worried about it.
yeah, like I said, I'd be more... I'm the kind of motherfucker that only, like, even when I had insurance, like, I have to be pretty much, like, feeling like I'm gonna die before I'll actually
See,
go
here's
to the
another
doctor.
fucking problem. One of the treatments, if you got cancer in, is they put a radioactive pellet up there next to that shit. Who knows what that does to your jizz? I'm even telling Jenny, no, Jenny, you can't swallow. That shit will give you cancer.
I'm
not
I'm gonna turn into
like
the
a
I'm gonna
radioactive-
turn into the toxic Avenger.
radioactive fucking jizz and shit.
Holy shit. That'd be
Yeah.
kind of neat. It might
Bust a
glow.
nut and it glows.
It might glow and shit
Glows,
like that.
yeah, make
like
all
I said,
kinds
we
of
could
money.
make a whole kind. Yeah,
Making all kinds of money.
we could make like people would be like, "That's fake. It's special effects." Oh
So,
no,
no.
it's absolutely real.
No, I'll get that damn shit out of the glow sticks like they did for
See,
Alien.
right?
Like they did, not Alien, Predator.
See, we're thinking of like monetizing like every single thing. 'Cause like I said, people will pay for some weird ass shit, and sometimes like the weirder it is, the better because it's the novelty
Yeah.
of it.
Monetizing Tom Ross's suffering. Okay, you ready to get on this shit?
You want to get
All right.
on the ghost?
The crowd has gotten bigger.
gotten.
Yeah, it's actually would radioactive jizz burn on the way out? It'd probably just tingle. It'd be like a cold feeling,
Ooh.
kind of like an electric feeling.
Might be kind of pleasant.
Right. And the gays love it. The shit goes up inside there, and it fucking goes in, and then it's digested, and it goes throughout the fucking system.
And you kind of glow
Fucking,
for a
yeah,
second.
you glow.
You go to like a fucking nightclub or something, and
Yeah.
you get under the lights, and you're just like, woo.
Yeah, it's like a radioactive suppository.
They can see all your like innards and whatnot.
Damn,
Oh
I gotta
my
talk to Toby about that. Toby probably my buddy Toby probably knows all about that.
I would imagine.
That's in the leather daddy world. They probably know all about prostate stuff. He's a nurse. So that's
Yeah.
Toby's a nurse.
Yeah.
He's a male nurse.
Yeah.
He probably knows all about that shit.
Maybe
Oh yeah,
so.
prostate. Yeah. He probably got like
Yeah, you could probably ask
yeah.
him about that.
Yeah, come on over. I'll check you.
That's probably exactly what he
That's
said.
right. Yeah. Fucking Toby.
That sounds exactly like something he would say.
Toby comes dressed like Mr. Slave and shit. He's got his leather cowboy hat on.
Or
and
Dr. Satan.
And I ain't joking. That's how Toby fucking comes to the club with his fucking all his fucking leather straps on and his beard and shit. And he's
my
like,
God,
go ahead
so
and lay
funny.
down over there. Put your feet up in the air.
Yeah, there you go. Bend over, Tom.
He's putting the gloves on and shit. Gets them all lubed and says, fuck it. Takes the glove off and then lubes his hand.
Like I said, long as I can film it.
Just so I can. He's
Long
like,
as I
we're
can
friends.
film
You know what I
it.
mean? We're friends. I don't need
Yeah.
a glove.
I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Fuck you, please.
Oh my god. I can totally see that happening.
He's like, Jen, hold his head.
He's like, here, give him something to bite down on so he doesn't scream.
He's like, he's up to his fucking shoulder.
You can see his hand like coming out like your stomach and stuff like that.
Oh, we can see. Look at all this money. I talk about it as perverted shit, and money starts showing. Who gave me some money?
Thank you, Bryce. Thank
What did
you.
Bryce say?
Thank you very much.
What did Bryce
Just
say?
tuned in. All I'm going to say is that instead of buying that coffee, use your spare change to support the show via super chat or super thanks. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna get to these
PSA.
stories. We're gonna get.
We are, I promise.
we're gonna
You
get
know
to the
how we
show.
do. It's like we just got off on the, and this is absolutely Tom's fault because I didn't even know where you were going with this because you just started with all you said just randomly. You said so. Jen's been wanting to peg me, and then and then you went off on this big long tirade about
It's
your
been bothering me. I
doctor.
gotta get it off my fucking chest.
I
man.
know.
Bothered me all fucking day. You know what else that bitch told me? She told me I couldn't ride motorcycles until I did the test again next week. I was like, what? I just started laughing, and she got mad. That's the way. And she's like, yeah, don't ride motorcycles. I was
Like,
like, nah, I
well,
just started
he
laughing.
rides the motorcycle to the
Like,
doctor's
no.
office.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride that bike.
He doesn't
to
even
the
have a
motorcycle.
car anymore. He uses my
Yeah,
car,
yeah.
like if he needs a car, but he doesn't have a car.
I'm gonna laugh at her. I laughed at her, and I was like,
Well,
and
maybe
then I
that's
went-
why she's mad. Well, she's
Yeah.
like, well, now I'm absolutely going to shove stuff up your butt.
Yeah, well, it started that way when I was at the office. I have an antagonistic relationship with her.
Well, you're kind of antagonistic just in general.
Well, I told her, I said, "You're making me mad." And she started laughing. So you're making me mad, asking me all these questions and shit.
I mean,
but,
that's kind of their job, but you know.
Yeah, and then, but no, and then I looked it up and I was like prostate and motorcycles, and then it said, yeah, if you're always on a motorcycle, like you're a professional motorcycle rider or something, and you know that the vibration and the seat can fucking cause like swelling of the prostate, and I'm going, who the fuck are these dudes? Who the fuck
And
are
it's
these
like,
dudes?
why would it just be a motorcycle?
Yeah, well,
why wouldn't it be like riding a horse
about
or
horses?
sitting,
It would be
or
like
sitting in a
100
chair?
Yeah, that'd be like 100 times worse. Or fucking
Right.
like, who the fuck are these dudes, man? And I'm starting to think, well, there's so many sedentary people that just sit around and do nothing. I mean, you can grab some of these guys. I could just grab them and they'd bruise. You know what I mean? Just at a cellular level, just fucking soft. You know, I guess. But I'm like, how the hell does riding a motorcycle fuck up your? I don't understand it.
I don't know.
I didn't buy it. I didn't believe it. Not a word of it.
That seems very specific.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
we live in a world of
sitting on anything you'd
Yeah.
think for a long time
Yeah.
would fuck up your,
We
like a
li-
truck driver or
Right.
something like that. It's like sitting in a truck.
We live in a world of fucking extreme risk aversion. I mean, you tell somebody that there's a risk and they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Fucking, well, shit, there's a risk of this. There's a risk of that. There's a risk in everything you fucking do. Man, you know, and also if you don't do anything, then you don't get stronger. You know, if you're soft, all it takes is just some dude who's fucking strong to just fuck you up, and just really fuck you up. All right. But that same dude who got fucked up, had he been training and getting stronger and taking blows and being in the fucking dojo or whatever, fighting with fucking Cobra Kai and shit, he would have never been fucking hit. Even if he got
Like
hit,
beating
he
all
would
the
have
kids up.
never fucking resist it. You know what I mean? Fucking you get a stronger body by putting stress doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. Physical stress. That's just the only person that thinks that is like people that think that old people. Okay, here we go. I'm going to end this here in a minute because we got to start the show.
Yeah, I was like,
But they got older people thought the human body was like a battery. The more you did, the weaker you'd get. Oh, don't overwork, you'll get. It's like they're conserving.
yeah, I
And-
remember like older people,
Yeah.
like my grandparents' age, like saying
Old
that
people
kind of
thought
stuff.
that a human body was like a battery. The
Like
more you
eventually
did,
just-
the more it would wear
It
out.
would just wear out. Yeah.
No, that is not how it worked. The opposite. The more you do and the more you eat, the better your nutrition. The stronger you get, the longer you'll live. Because you're fueling a fire and adding fuel to the fire, and the fire gets bigger. But you just keep adding more fuel to the fire. You know, it's like a biological fire. It's not a battery. And thinking this, okay, look, I'm not an anti-Trump dude. Okay, I think the motherfucker's hilarious clown. I think he's a clown. I think he's fucking hilarious. He's good at certain. I look at a dude like Trump, and he fucking thinks the body is a battery. He's one of those. I can just tell by his build.
Yeah,
that he's one of those.
he's an
And they
obese
all kind of
motherfucker.
have that look. You don't want to do too much.
That's
You'll
an
get
old-
weaker.
Yeah, that's well, and like I said, that was a very common.
Yeah.
Because I remember like people my grandparents' age saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is not the case.
I could just tell by
however.
his build and the way he walks and the way he does things that he's one of those.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know.
I got family members that are like that.
Yeah, a lot. Like I said, a lot of older.
Yeah,
people
my
are
mom's like that. That you do too much, then you break down.
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
Nah.
The opposite.
You gotta keep doing shit.
Yeah. The more active you stay, the stronger you'll be, the longer you'll live.
Yeah, you can't just like fucking lay around.
Yeah.
You will wear out then.
Yeah. My dad was indifferent. He didn't care one way or the other. He'll just sit there and drink soda. Watch TV.
Yeah.
But he was born with a baby bottle in his mouth that had fucking pork grease in it.
That was also very common.
That's some old school Southern.
That's like
shit.
an old Southern thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're feeding them babies pork fat, make them healthy.
Yeah.
Make them healthy.
Because they wanted you to be kind of fat.
Yeah, kind of fat. Yeah.
Because if you weren't kind of fat, then
Kinda,
you were like
yeah.
sickly. Yeah.
Yeah. White people and black people of the South, they were like that. Just
Yeah.
feed pork grease, eat them a lot.
You had to be kind of fat to be healthy.
Yeah, a lot of pasta, a
Yeah.
lot of potatoes,
Big time.
a lot of grits.
Yeah, Denny Rolling said, and I had forgotten all about this, but he said Michael Douglas said he got throat cancer from eating Catherine Zeta-Jones's cancerous coochie. Yeah, he did say that.
It might be true.
Still though,
I think
it's
some of
like
I think cancer can be contagious.
um,
If you inject somebody with cancer cells, that's it.
I mean, in
You
some
can get it
ways,
to 'em.
but it's just like even if that were true, which I doubt, it seems like not real classy to like say that.
I keep that low. Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Because
blame another woman for it.
they were still married then, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like it was his ex and he was just being an asshole. And I'd be like, I mean, if you said that shit about me, I'd be like, "Fuck you, man!" like, what? And you were as famous as they were, and like everybody heard that. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'd keep that low if you're famous.
Thanks a lot.
But no, there may be something to that. I heard that some cancer might be viral. That viruses can cause the cancer.
Yeah, I had
You
heard
know.
that as well. But like I said, I don't know if it's true in his
I've
case.
also heard that there's a lot of different kinds of cancer, and it's not all the same thing. It just kind of looks like the same thing. That
Yeah.
our concept of cancer is incorrect. There's cancer-like things, but they're being caused by different things. Some of it's viruses. It's amazing. And here's the thing: I'm pretty sure they can cure a lot of that. It's just that they make a lot of money on treating it.
Well-
I'm convinced they can cure diabetes, but they don't really want to. That's a lot of money to treat diabetes.
The thing about cancer is that it's not just really one thing. There's like lots of different. It's like a lot
Yeah.
more complicated.
Yeah.
than-
You
know
say
what I mean?
cancer, it's a group of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just one of them.
Yeah. Oracle said, "Guess who's on vacation this week?" Oh, well, good for you.
Oh, Oracle is?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let's get to the fucking story. That was a good warm up, and
You,
everybody
you went
is
off
here.
on like we went like flying up Tom's butthole for a little while there.
Yeah. There's a shit ton of people in here. The audience is here when you start the story.
Flying up Tom's butthole.
Look, she's trying to focus on the ass. Okay. It's the way women are, man. Fucking,
Well, no,
not all women.
Well, now
it's
I do
sinister
it.
women.
No.
Sinister women are like that. Sinister, creative.
Are you saying that I'm sinister?
Exactly. You're sinister
Well,
and creative.
the thing
Yeah.
about it that just kind of a heads up is
Yeah.
that the more uncomfortable it makes you, the more I'm going
the
to
more
do
they
it.
do it. Now, I do kind of laugh.
Because that's
at it.
just how
I kind of laugh at it though.
because it's funny that you get like uncomfortable. About
It
it,
is
so
funny.
then I'm just going to keep
It's funny.
poking at you
No, I
about
think it's
it.
funny. I understand. It's funny.
I think it's funny.
I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't think
That's
it was funny.
true because it's not like I said about it.
No,
you
no, I
said
brought it
about
up.
it.
Yeah.
You said about it.
Every man can relate. Every
Yeah.
man can relate.
They probably can.
Yeah. Except Zach. Zach, what are you scared of, man? If Zach jump up in the air and come down ass first on the end of a fucking.
Sure, and everybody's like, "What's the big deal?"
Yeah, he's landed on a fire hydrant. He could take it. That boy, he's a fucking power bottom.
Sure.
Yeah, I gotta hook him up, man. Gotta hook him up with Toby. Toby might be a little bit too old for him though. I imagine Zach Kai, he likes some young guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose so. All right.
Yeah, they're good.
How to do it? Can we make like a good transition?
Yeah,
I guess
make a
not
transition.
from
Now that
from
we're talking about it, we're talking about
from-
ghosts at
from
sea and sea
boat,
monsters
from
and
butts
fucking
to ghost ships.
ghost ships.
Ghost ship, not ghost shits.
No, I didn't say that. Ghost ships.
No, I know, but I was just trying to make a transition
Yeah,
between butts and ghosts.
Okay.
So you know what I mean?
Ghost ships. It's a creepy topic.
I have always been like really creeped out by ghost ship type stories.
There's a ship out there that has been abandoned at sea. I think it was a luxury liner, wasn't it? And every now and then it shows up.
Yeah,
They know where it was.
which is like really
abandoned
weird.
luxury liner. It was going to be towed to scrap, but the line that the tugboat was pulling it with broke, and they lost it.
There it went.
It got lost in a storm, and every 6 or 7 years, people see it out in the ocean. Creepy as fucking.
That is creepy.
Yeah, I think we covered that in the last.
We
show.
probably did because like I said, we talked about a lot of ghost ships like in the last one.
Yeah.
And sea monsters and stuff too. These ones, like the 4 that I picked, are kind of more on the paranormal end.
Okay.
Some of them are like based on shit that really happened, but then like people still see the ships, but they're not really sure
Yeah.
if they're still there or not. You know what I'm
That one ship I was talking about, though, I forgot what the name of it. It was locked up tight as a tick, so rain isn't getting into it.
Hi, Pokey. Where'd you come from?
And evidently, it's still in good. Evidently, it's still in good condition,
Yeah.
floating out there like a damn hotel, an empty hotel. Imagine that.
Yeah, just thinking about
Yeah.
it is like really spooky.
Creepy. And evidently, it's been seen at sea, and it looked like it'd be in pretty good condition.
I think it's spooky for the same reason that like dead malls are spooky.
Yeah.
Any kind of like liminal spaces. Especially stuff like I know there's like been kind of a big thing in horror, like analog horror, and then they did like back rooms, and that's kind of like a big thing too, where it's just like endless hallways of just like empty shit, and there's
Yeah.
like nobody there, and it's just like I think that ghost ships are kind of creepy for the same reason as that, with the
Yeah.
added creepiness of being like out in the middle of the fucking ocean, which is
Yeah.
inherently scary on
Yeah,
its own.
and nobody sees it.
Yeah.
And when they do see it and report it, it's like every 5 or 6 years. I think it's been out there by now by about at least 20 years.
Yeah, I mean
And
the
it's just
ocean's
floating
big
around
around,
it.
so it's just kind of like floating around.
They said
everything.
it's being carried by a current that's kind of circular, and it goes
Right.
throughout the continents. It's going to be out there forever.
I always wonder. There's
It
got to
doesn't-
be like some kind of people that are like ghost ship spotters.
Yeah.
That like just go out specifically and see if they can find like a specific ghost ship. You know what I mean?
I imagine it's seen more often than reported, and people didn't know it was a ghost ship. They just see it in the distance.
Yeah, because you wouldn't necessarily know
Right, you wouldn't
unless
know.
you got close enough to
Right.
it.
Right.
Like what ship it was, you would just think, oh, it's another ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not spooky.
And you
but,
pass it, and you don't even think about it.
but you know, it's like I said, the ocean on its own is just fucking creepy. Like thinking about how fucking deep the ocean is, and
Yeah.
man, I had a nightmare like that last night. I think about like I can't even remember what it was, but it was just kind of like they were talking about how deep this section of this ocean was, and it was just like this. They're like this island or whatever that had these big tall buildings on it. It's like 8 of those deep, and I was
Yeah.
just like, holy shit! It was
Yeah.
just like this, and it was like really creepy, and it like woke me up. It was so scary.
Well, we're only thinking in terms of the Earth.
Right.
I was watching that other program that I listened to called Event Horizon. It's really good. Guy has all these scientists and astronomers and astrophysicists and shit on. They just found an exoplanet, a planet around another star. I think it's about 40 or 50 light years away, if I remember correctly. And I don't think it has a name. It's just a bunch of numbers and letters.
Yeah, they don't usually give them any cool names until later.
And it's an ocean planet. It doesn't have a surface. And by this spectroscopy that's coming off of it, they believe that ocean is like 600 miles deep.
Fuck. I don't even want to think about that.
Imagine that.
That's giving me anxiety.
Yeah. And it's 3 or 4 times the size of Earth. Yikes. Physically, and the mass and everything.
Can you imagine what kind of Lovecraftian hell beasts are like maybe swimming around
600 mile deep.
I don't even want to think about that. Oh, that gives
oceans.
That's going to give me nightmares tonight.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
So if you're on the surface of that shit, if you could see to the bottom, it would be like you were in space.
Yeah.
Looking down at the surface of the planet.
That is so fucking creepy. That is like one of the creepiest things that I can fucking think of. Mm-hmm. Hugo says, also Triangle is a good flick. It is, I agree. That is a very good flick. I don't think you've ever seen it, but it's just kind of related because it's about these people that find this supposedly abandoned ship. Like they kind of go out and they kind of, wreck, and they find this abandoned ship, and then I don't want to spoil it because it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, but they kind of go on there and it looks like people were just there, but everybody's gone. That's all I'm going to say. But it's really, really good. If you haven't seen it. I think it's actually on Tubi, so you can watch it for free.
I think I might be wrong. I believe that planet might have been called Trappist.
Like a monk?
Trappist D, I think is what it was. And it wasn't 600 miles, it was like 300 miles, which is still a lot.
I mean, still
a lot. Trappist D, I think is what it's called. Man, imagine that.
Do they think it has life on it?
No. Probably. Well, they don't know.
Well, yeah. Because there might, like I said, there might be all kind of scary shit like swimming.
The ocean seems to be the atmosphere. That's the atmosphere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that crazy when you really think about it, but
yeah,
that is pretty weird. That's pretty weird. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up because
it's called Trappist, I believe.
Although, like I said, that's probably gonna give me nightmares. Thinking about like super deep water, like with big shit swimming around in it, is like that's like one of the scariest things in the world to me.
It had pretty heavy really G. I think it was like 4 or 5 times the size of Earth. Had pretty heavy gravitational forces in it. I don't know if you could fall to the bottom. The density and the pressure, you might just hang. When you get down so far and then you just hang there. You couldn't fall any deeper probably.
Yikes.
Because the pressure. Who knows? A human would be killed, you know.
Well,
you wouldn't even fall that far and into that ocean and you'd be crushed. But they know it's water. Wild, huh?
Yeah, that is.
And it's in the habitable zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not frozen. It's habitable zone temperatures.
Zach said a show about the backrooms liminal spaces trend would be cool as hell. I kind of agree. I was watching, I guess it was Nexpo, and he did they did a show about that, about backrooms and stuff like that. And I think like Ryan Hollinger did one too, but I don't know. I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff. I love all the analog horror stuff there, and I know that that's kind of, I don't want to say that's passé now because it's still kind of going on, but I think the backrooms thing like has kind of taken over a little bit. You know, analog horror is still around, obviously, because Skinamarink just came out, which was like analog horror writ large. That's like the quintessential analog horror film. But, you know, which I really liked it, but a lot of people really did not like it. And I get that. Oracle says there's a great novel about a haunted ship called The Devil and the Dark Water. Jenny, you might like it. That does sound really good. I've actually heard that title before, but I don't think I've ever read it. Murder Horn is asking Hugo if it's Netflix. I'm guessing he's asking about Triangle. I think last time I looked, Triangle was on Tubi for free. I think it used to be, but I've seen it a couple of times and it's really, really good. I think I even wrote about it. I don't remember if I did a video about it, but I wrote about it on my blog. Yeah,
get some ice.
My ice all melted.
Yeah.
My ice all melted. All right, so do you want me to wait till you come back and then we get started? All right. So let's kind of get started on some of these ghost ship stories. So this one, I guess this is a pretty famous case in like Canada, but I don't remember ever hearing about it before I started like researching this one because like I said, I wanted to find some different ones than And like I said, these are more on the paranormal end. I kind of felt like when we talked about ghost ships before, yeah, we did sea monsters and stuff too, but we talked about like technical like ghost ships where they're floating out there with nobody in them and shit like that. These ones are kind of more on the paranormal end. So this is the famous case of the flaming ghost ship of Northumberland Strait. Now, thank you. Northumberland Strait is between Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island in Canada. Now, this legend has been around for more than 200 years. So this ship is a 3-masted schooner, and there's apparently like a really lot of sightings of it. Now, the crazy thing about this is that when people report seeing it, they don't just see, you know, a ship like coming out of the fog and then disappearing or whatever. This ship appears to be on fire. So the folklore surrounding this ship is that it's usually spotted before a storm, which that's a very common thing about certain ghost ship legends, is that it's like a bad omen. You know, you see it and then there's like a bad storm coming or something like that. There's been many sightings of this ship apparently throughout the decades. Most people seem to see it in the fall, like in the autumn. The most recent sighting that I could find on the internet was from 2008. This was a 17-year-old guy, and he saw it as he was looking across the bay in like mid-January of 2008. It was kind of reported in the newspaper at the time that he had seen it. Now, some people that see this ship, they say that sometimes before you see it, you hear cannon fire, and then you see this big ball of flame that can usually be seen from multiple angles at once. That's another thing that's been reported. Now, another thing that's commonly reported, which is really creepy, because like I said, if it was just light, you know, people would say it's like, oh, it's just, you know, auroras, or it's like a trick of the light, or it's an optical illusion or whatever. But one thing that a lot of people have seen it have reported is that they see this ship, it comes out of a fog bank or whatever, and it's on fire, and they very clearly see people running around on the deck and jumping overboard. You know what I mean? So much so that there have been multiple cases of, you know, boat crews and stuff like that were like on the shore that saw it and thought it was a real ship, and like got in boats and like went out there to help the people because they thought that they were dying. You know what I mean? And then they get out there and there's nothing there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a pretty common thing that's reported. Now, one of these happened, there was one that was reported in 1900, and this happened in Charlottetown Harbor. Now, there was a group of sailors, they were on the shore, and they saw the ship like come out of the thing, and like I said, it just, they said very clearly they saw this big ship, a 3-masted schooner. It was on fire. There were people running around frantically on the deck like they were trying to put the fire out. People were jumping overboard and stuff like that. And so they all jumped in their rowboats and went out there to rescue the crew. And when they got out there, the ship disappeared. They sent divers out. They sent other boats out, like looking to see where it was, and it was not there. They didn't find anything. So this first ship, apparently, like the first sighting of this ship that was reported was in 1786. And this was a sighting that from Sea Cow Head Lighthouse, which is a great fucking name for a lighthouse. Sea Cow Head.
What is a sea cow head?
Well, I guess the head of a sea cow.
What is
like,
a sea cow?
Like a manatee.
Oh, okay. That's what they're talking about. Manatee's head.
Like a manatee head. Manatees.
Where is this?
This is in like Canada, like up around
They don't have manatees
Nova
in Canada?
Scotia. Yeah, but sea cow, it's like a different.
Okay.
It's the same family.
That's
though.
a Florida thing. Okay.
It's a different thing. Well, yeah, but like in Australia and stuff like that, they have like a dugong or whatever, which is kind of the same thing.
Okay.
They're not exactly the same species, I don't think, but they're very similar, like in the same family.
Good.
So, apparently in 1786, the lighthouse keeper of the Sea Cow Head Lighthouse, he saw the ship. Like, he was looking out, and he's just like, holy shit. There's this, like, he's like, the sails were all out, and there was a storm going on, and it was coming toward... I don't think it was on fire when he first saw it, but it looked like... He said it just looked like a regular ship, but it was coming in, and that it was going to hit the rocks, like, at the cliff base. And then he said that it kind of turned into the storm, and it disappeared. But they found out later, like, they never did find it. So they also found out later, like, there was another story where there were all these other guys who were working in Charlottetown, and out in the harbor, again, there was this big sailing vessel, and they all saw it, and it was on fire. So they all see the guys, like, running around on the deck, and they're like people are jumping off, and so they got, like, everybody got in the rescue boat, and they go out there to get it, to help them, but before they got out there, this, like, big fog came up and, like, just kind of went over the ship, and then when they got to the place where the ship had been, it was gone. So they actually have... This is what the guy said that wrote down that he saw it. He said, as it came nearer, it seemed to lose speed. And as it came opposite our house, it stopped still. I said to Fred, who was another guy, perhaps they're coming ashore. We got up on the banks to watch. There was no sign of anyone on board and no dory on tow. I can't remember just how long it was, but I think about 10 minutes after she stopped, I saw smoke rising very slow all over the deck. So these people are looking at it for a long time, which was a pretty common thing.
What year was this again?
Well, this took place in, like, the early 1900s.
Okay.
He said then, it was only a few minutes, I saw men that seemed to come from below, and they were running around the deck every way. Then as they were running around, I saw a low flame all over the deck. When the flame started, the men climbed up the masts of the vessel. When they were about halfway up the masts, the sails caught. All the sails seemed to catch at the same time. I couldn't see the men anymore as the flames hid my view. We watched it until the flames died and everything crumbled to the deck. There was nothing left but the hull on the water, and gradually it seemed to sink lower and finally disappeared as if it gradually filled with water and sunk.
I wonder how long that took.
So, but that seems like a pretty common thing with this particular legend or whatever, is that the people that see it, they seem to, like, sit there and watch it for a while. Like, it just, like, it's this whole thing. And, like, a lot of times, like I said, it looked realistic enough that they thought it was a real fucking ship. So, and other, like, mariners have seen this as well. So it's not just, like, they're imagining shit or anything like that. So there was also a sighting in 1973. There was a guy named Marvin McLeod, and he was driving home. He wasn't on a ship or anything like that, but he was driving home, like, around, like, the road that was near the shore at about, like, a little past midnight. And he said the night was really clear. It was kind of cold out. And he said he had binoculars with him because it was hunting season. And then he said from the car, he said he saw what appeared to be a 3-masted schooner with its sails on fire and people running around the deck and jumping overboard. Then he said, I was about to head home and call the Coast Guard when it up and disappeared before my eyes. So very, very common, like I said. And there was another sighting in October of 1978. There was a lightkeeper at a place called Wood Islands. His name was Leon Patton. And he got a phone call from a woman who lived in town, like, you know, and she could see the water from her house. She called and said, what are you burning? And he said, I'm not burning anything. And she said, why don't you look out one of your east-facing windows and tell me what you see? So he looked out there, and he could see the ship, like, heading down, and it was just like this fucking ship that was on fire. He watched it for a few minutes, and then it vanished into thin air. So there was that, too. And like I said, you could see it from, like, different angles, apparently, because she was seeing it from a different, and then she called him and said, hey, look out.
This was the 70s.
That was the 70s, yeah. What, everyone was on drugs then? Is that what you were implying, or no?
No, I'm just trying to keep track of these sightings. And who is saying this? Where was the source? Do you know? Like,
well, that guy was the lighthouse keeper.
Okay.
And he said he got a phone call from a local woman that, like, lived right down the street.
Do you know where this story appeared? Like, where the source was? Did it appear in a book or a newspaper? Or?
Some of these were in newspapers. There was somebody that wrote a book that kind of compiled all of these, but I'm assuming he got them from like newspaper reports.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. So this is kind of a famous ghost ship sighting.
Yeah, like I said, I hadn't really heard of this one, but like I said, it's Canadian, so it's
Okay.
just like I didn't really like it wasn't really on my radar.
Kind of makes me think of that old song by Warren Zevon. Was it Edmund Fitzgerald?
That's not Warren Zevon. That's Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot. That's right. Warren Zevon did fucking Roll in the Headless Thompson Gunner.
Yeah, which is also a good song.
Yeah, but
Yeah, every time we do a ghost ship show or I think about ghost ships, I always like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald just starts playing in my head.
yeah. You never heard that song? You guys need to listen to.
I love that song actually.
It's old seaman song.
I love all those creepy songs like that.
Even though they weren't at sea, they were in the Great Lakes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that was a real
yeah.
story.
It really
like
happened.
he was writing about.
Yeah, those dudes all died. They found that ship later.
They did, yeah.
And the dude, and what was funny is like one of the dude was still at the helm. His dead body, he's standing there in there. It's creepy.
Man, just like in Dracula.
In that frigid ass water, his body was preserved.
See, that's like so
Yeah.
creepy to me. That's so
Like a
fucking
zombie.
creepy.
Yeah, he looked like a zombie. He's still down there.
Can you imagine fucking
Yeah.
finding that? You would never get that image out of your head.
I've seen the photographs.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
weird.
like, why is my phone ringing?
I don't know.
Spam.
Yeah,
It says
yeah,
spam risk. I can see it.
yeah. There was. He wasn't at the helm. He was on the bridge.
Yeah.
Looked like he was looking out the window. I think he got killed when the ship hit the bottom because there's a lot of impact. Because it hit the bottom pretty quick. He probably hadn't fully drowned by the time he hit the bottom. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, the bodies are preserved. They're still down. The photographs, they went down there many years later. I think maybe the 90s or the 80s or 90s. They found that ship, the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
You guys can Google it, and you can Google photographs, and you'll see the bodies looking out the window. It's creepy. Look like Eddie from Iron Maiden looking out the fucking window. Yeah.
And like I said, it's like that's such a creepy song too.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
There's just something inherently creepy about shit that happens like on ships.
Well, the way he told the story in the in the song is compelling.
Yeah.
You know, about how the fucking cook says, "All right, I'll be seeing you guys later." Fucking, they knew they were going under. Been good working with you. Yeah, they all died.
I can't imagine being that chill, like if you knew you
Yeah.
were dying, but maybe, I don't know.
They
I've
took
never been
on
in that
water. They were in a
situation.
storm and they took on water. There's frigid cold water up in the Great Lakes. Something broke open and the water went down into the hold and it capsized and went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, that actually wasn't in the ocean, though. That was
No,
like
it was
in
in the Great
Great Lakes.
That
yeah.
might as well be the ocean, though.
I mean, yeah, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of shipwrecks in the
Yeah.
fucking Great
yeah,
Great
but
Lakes.
it's not salt water; it's fresh water.
Yeah.
And there's huge sturgeon in there, like the size of they're like fucking 30-foot long, 20-foot long sturgeon, the size of a shark. It's amazing. The Great Lakes, American Great Lakes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're big, y'all.
That's
If
up
you're- if
around
you're
when
not-
I was living up in Michigan, they'd all talk about the fucking Great Lakes. Where's my boy? He's not in here.
Gramps hasn't been
Grandpa's
here
not
in a
here.
while.
Yeah, I don't know what he got bored with the show.
Or busy.
Went to
I
high
guess.
school with him, but he's up in Michigan still.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're not from the U.S., like the Great Lakes are
Yeah.
fucking massive.
The northern regions of the United States, like Michigan and everything, Michigan is the America's version of Siberia. It's
Yeah.
where all the cars and all the industrial might was. Detroit. They made cars and tanks, kind of like our version of Tankograd. During World War II, you know, they were big in the war effort. And unions slowly took over and strangled the place out, and bad politics, and Detroit collapsed, and race riots happened, and it went apocalyptic a long time. I lived in Detroit. I lived in Second and West Hancock, right off of Cass Corridor, which is the fucking worst places in Detroit. Is where I lived. I fucking loved it though for a while. I had a great goth scene. That was during the time of like The Crow. The Crow is being played. It is being set in the place and the time when I was there.
Thank you, Murder Hornet. Just the tip.
Yeah, just the tip. Sophie, who comes sometimes, she's on the show, friend of ours. She's from Michigan and is like related to the little sister of one of my best high school friends. That's how I met her through the show, and she comes over. But Soph's like my little sister or like my daughter. And they have all that. They have that look, and it's funny to see her. She has that Michigan look, that Scandinavian Michigan look. But when you're talking about the Great Lakes and the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and everything, it kind of like brings back a kind of a weird what do they call it? It's kind of like a nostalgia
Yeah.
for that place. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. It's a totally different version of America. I've lived all over the United States. I'm actually more of a southern guy, you know, Mississippi. But the North has its own thing, too. It's very different, but it's respectable. They got their own way of doing things up there.
Well, I mean, the U.S. is kind of like 50 different countries.
50
really.
different countries united, yeah.
Pretty much.
We watch the same television and we speak the same language, but other than that, there's not a lot in common.
I mean, there's some things in common. There's
Yeah.
probably more things in common than not, but there's like
Yeah.
a lot of
The everyday
differences,
living
too.
experience is very different.
There's a lot of different shit too.
I lived in Boston for about 6 years, and there's nothing. The life in downtown Boston has nothing to do with Mississippi. Nothing. Or even Florida.
Well, it's
Nothing
weird
to-
because I was reading an article the other day, and they were talking about, and I guess it was somebody that was coming from like a Midwestern point of view, which I've never been to the Midwest. And so it was like they were talking about, the Friday fish fry. And I knew that was like a Catholic tradition.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but it's just so weird to me because it's like that was not even a thing that was like on our radar. But I guess like in
Yeah.
Catholic majority areas, that's
Yeah.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I guess it's still a big deal like in some areas of the Midwest, which I was like, wow, they're still doing that? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I went on and started just Googling fucking what's it like to live in Florida. And it's always New Yorkers talking about, because they move here a lot. And the main complaint are these fucking Italian-ass Guidos coming here complaining about that they can't get pizza. If you're really Italian, you make your own fucking pizza, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
not
just
a fucking
kind of like...
you don't need... Look, you Italians, I respect your shit. Fucking, I could cook all your shit, too, all right? If you're that fucking Italian that you have to have some New York pizza, learn to make your own fucking pizza, all right? It's
I mean,
not
that's
as
what-
hard as
that's
you
what
think.
I would do.
It's not that hard.
If you want it that bad.
I make a badass pizza. I
You-
love Italian
you
food.
do.
I like Italian culture. You know, living in Brazil, was also in a Romance culture, and Brazil has a huge Italian influence to it. Italy, Portugal, Spain, you know, and also Turkey. Surprisingly, a lot of Turkish influence in Brazil. But no, all that Italian food that you were getting up in New York that you can't live without, you can get the ingredients to make it here. All right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can get okay pizza here.
It's corporate pizza.
Yeah.
Corporate.
So it's like if you really must have pizza and you're not that picky, yeah, you can get some pizza.
Yeah, you can get Papa John's and fucking bullshit like that.
And there's like mom and pop places that are pretty
Yeah.
good and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, if
it's
you
not
want
Lombardi's.
if you want
Okay.
it done like a specific way, then you probably need to like make it yourself. I'm
Yeah,
just
but they
gonna
want to
say.
cry about it. They want to be bitches about it. Come on, it's going to take you about a year to get that crust right. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
by
well,
hand.
it's I will say it's not as easy
It's
as
not
it
easy,
seems.
but it's going to take
Like
you
to
about,
get it exactly the way you want
Yeah,
it.
it's gonna
because
take you
there's a
about a
lot
year.
of variables.
right. Too many variables.
But
if you're that fucking Italian, you need to get your ass in the kitchen.
make your own shit.
You can even make
Instead of
your own
making your mom do
mozzarella.
it.
You can make your own mozzarella. You make your own marinara. You make all that. Okay. And I'm not even Italian, and I can do all that. Okay. But no, I know what you're talking about. It's we don't have those type of restaurants here. It's all corporate stuff. But you can do it yourself. I do.
Yeah. Like
Make
I
a
said,
badass pizza.
there are little mom and pop places, like,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's
so
gonna be hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure if you look, you can find good shit anywhere, but it's just like, I know, it's kind of a pain in the ass, like having
Yeah. And if you're so Jewish, you got to have knish and shit. All right, you can make your own knish. Okay, fucking matzo balls. and
Yeah, because
shit
I
like that.
can't really think of any good Jewish delis around here,
No.
now that I'm thinking about it.
I used to get good knish in Boston.
Well, yeah, you can find
Yeah.
shit up
but,
there,
but I can make that.
right.
You know, so
I'm just trying to. Well, obviously, like
Yeah.
we live in Eustis, which is kind of rural, so obviously
Yeah.
there's not going to be anything like that out here. But even in Orlando, I'm sure there's got to be a couple. But it's
Yeah.
just like I can't really think of any offhand.
Yeah.
Like any really good Jewish delis or
No,
anything like that.
there's not enough Jews here.
I mean, there
They got 'em,
are,
but
but
they're just-
yeah, it just kind of seems like they're like, fuck it, we're just gonna make.
They're
our own
spread
shit.
out,
Yeah,
so you're not gonna.
maybe
you know,
there's not as much.
Yeah, you can't concentrate them.
Now I will say that
We got good Indian food.
I was
though.
just gonna say, like,
Yeah.
and particularly in Lake Mary,
Yeah.
which is near where we used to live. It's kind of like a suburb of Orlando, I guess. There's a really good Indian
We
restaurant
got good Indian food.
called Memories of India.
We got great, authentic Mexican and Central American.
Yeah, there's a lot of really
It's
good
everywhere because we got all these farm workers here. We got
Yeah.
real
There's fucking
Mexicans,
taco trucks
yeah.
out by the farms
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
All kind of good shit.
and they're from
Everybody's
Cent-
selling boiled peanuts. Too.
yeah, and they're from
That's another
they're
thing.
from Central America. That shit's fucking legit, you know. But you see, I'm growing tomatillos, and making my own green salsa and shit. That green salsa was good, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot of shit from Con of Atzlan, my friend from Mexico, who's a friend of the show. He showed me all the girls to listen to on YouTube, the cooks to listen to, man. Fucking Cooking con Claudia. I really recommend. That's what he recommended, and I recommend Claudia. Cooking con Claudia. She'll teach you how to make all those Mexican dishes. How to make carnitas in a fucking Instapot. All right. And we're getting on food here. Hold on.
Well,
we
Ja-
had a food show, okay? But we're getting on food.
Well, James said about the fish fry thing. He
Yeah.
said, "Oh, it's still a big deal in Madison, Wisconsin." Yeah, I mean, I had heard of it before, but that wasn't really a thing, like in Florida, I guess. And I didn't know that it was still a thing. I thought that was like an old person thing, but I guess not because I saw an article the other day. I'm like, "Oh, that apparently
Yeah.
is still a thing. That's crazy."
The
But
South, the South's fish thing is catfish, which is a good fish.
yeah,
It's like eel, very soft, flaky, not very fishy flavored actually. Fish. You won't get that anywhere else. And in other countries, that's a delicacy. And it's actually hard to find here, corporate. You usually have to catch it, or you have to go look for it. Catfish. Yeah, easy to cook.
although there are some kind of like waterside, like kind of dive restaurant type
Yeah.
places where you can get catfish and alligator. And
Yeah,
all
what
that
you
kind
call
of
it
stuff.
has it.
Yeah,
What's the name of the place we just went there? The Trough.
yeah.
The Trough.
The
has it.
trough.
The Trough.
Troff.
Yeah, the Trough is good.
It is good, actually.
Really, Trough in Florida.
Yeah, it's got like it's known for oysters, but they have like
Yeah.
a bunch of other stuff. And like I said, it's just a dinky little
Yeah.
hole in the wall, kind of.
Yeah. And you buy shit based upon what the market price is.
Right.
Yeah.
Camp Guy says Mellow Mushroom is pretty good for a more expensive pizza experience. Yeah, I'll agree. I've only been to Mellow Mushroom a couple times, and there actually is a Mellow Mushroom probably only about 10 miles up the road from us.
Yeah, we got
maybe
'em here.
farther than that.
Yeah.
But
We got
I've
two
been
of
to them before. Yeah.
That is not
They're
that's not
okay.
what that's not what Italians, New York Italians are looking for though. That's not what they're looking for. Not the right kind of pizza. They're looking for something kind of based more about Lombardi's type.
Yeah.
That's which is it's cooked in a kiln. It don't matter. Hold on. That's okay. I don't want to get involved in what it is.
Yeah, Oracle said it's like being a Texan and complaining you can't buy good chili. Blasphemy. You make your own damn chili. Yeah, I mean, that's usually what we do. We just kind of... There are some good restaurants around here, but I will even note that even in, like, rural-ass Eustis, right up the street from us, there is a really, really good Japanese sushi restaurant that also has, like, you know, you can get, what do you call it? Why did I just forget the word? You know what I mean? Not just sushi, but just, you know, you can get bento boxes and the word that I can't remember. But yeah, you can get all that kind of stuff. And it's a little pricey, I will say. Little pricey, but the food is really good. We haven't been there in a while because it's kind of expensive, but you know what I mean? So you can get good food around here, but you gotta look. That's all I gotta say. I guess that's true of everywhere. But all right, so where were we? I kind of lost my place now. Okay, so back to the ghost ships, I guess, even though Tom's probably going to come back and talk about food some more, but that's okay. All right, so there was another sighting. I don't think I talked about this one yet. So there's another sighting of this ship in 1988. Now, it was actually seen at this time, not from the shore, but from the ferry. So the crew of the ferry actually saw the ship and pointed the radar at it. It didn't come up on the radar, though, but apparently they all saw it. And they, you know, the guy, one of the guys that was on the crew, or the captain, rather, he said that we had, he's like, so I kind of knew what it was because I remembered we had been on the ferry one night and we saw the same thing. Like, we saw the ship and it looked like it was on fire and we're like, holy shit, we need to go, like, go help them and everything like that. But then, like, they got there and there was nothing there. So he was just kind of like, okay, well, I know what that is. So there was also that same night that happened, that they saw it from the ferry, there was also a couple that lived right around that area, and they saw the ship from their window, like the window of the bedroom. And they said that the ship was sailing like super fast, like way more fast than like an actual ship would be able to sail. But they had heard the legends about it. I don't know if they'd ever seen it before, but they had heard the legends, so they kind of knew what it was, so they didn't like really call anybody, because they're like, oh, that must be that ghost ship we've heard so much about, you know what I mean? There's also this other guy who lives in the same area. His name was Larry Hooper, and he saw it twice. He saw it some in the 1980s, and he was actually worked on, there was a bridge over like called the Prince Nova Bridge, and he worked on there. He was like the lookout, and he's like, about 10 p.m. he saw it, and he said it was a clear night. You could see for miles. The sails were on fire with people all around the deck. Then it disappeared. Now this same guy saw it again like 10 years later, like in the late 1990s, and he saw it from a car this time. He said like him and one of his relatives were driving along the road along the shore, and they saw very clearly like this flaming ship and like all these people running around on the deck, and then it disappeared.
It's weird.
Yeah, which is like a really creepy, that's a really creepy fucking image. Can you imagine?
If the stories are to be believed.
Yeah. I mean, well, and like I said, I don't know. It's like, I don't
really, there, I didn't see it.
Right. I wasn't there. I didn't see it, but it's just like, it does seem like a lot of people are like describing it the same kind of way. You know what I mean? So yeah, there was a book called The Phantom Ship that had like all these sightings in it, stuff. Like a guy named Roland Sherwood wrote it. And that guy who wrote the book also said that he had seen it 2 times also. I don't know if this book is still in print or not, but there's still some copies of it, I guess, like in the local public library and stuff, but I guess it's apparently like kind of hard to get hold of. So obviously skeptics are going to say that this is just an optical illusion, or St. Elmo's fire. That's another thing they say a lot. Or it's just like moonlight, like reflecting through a fog bank. Or some people said it's just like methane gas, like burning on the surface of the water, something like that. But the thing about it is that, I don't know. This is on like a lot of ghost story sites, and they kind of go through this litany of like all these sightings of it, which are all really similar. So I'm not really sure what I want to believe about this, because I don't really think... I don't know, man. Like this kind of stuff, the sea like plays tricks on people.
Well, nothing is that you can write anything in a book.
Uh-huh.
You can say, 45 witnesses saw this on a certain date, and this and that. If the source isn't given, you're not really sure. So because you can just write anything.
Yeah.
And then there were also... newspapers weren't all that credible. Newspapers in the United States fucking print shit all the time. They always have.
Well, they just wanted to sell papers, so
yeah.
You know what I mean. They were just printing whatever.
And a lot of times
somebody came to them with a crazy story. They're like, "All right, we'll print that shit
in there." And a lot of times, they're like, "We need something that'll sell today," and they'll come up with an airship story. And it's obviously to the writer, to the guys at the office, they're laughing. This is some fabricated shit, And they think it's more like a joke. And other people are taking it seriously, So it's hard to say. It's just, maybe they're seeing the ghost ship, maybe they aren't. There's no way of knowing. When you hear stories like this, all you can do is just be entertained. Which may have been the intent.
Right. I do like...
Yeah.
I mean, the imagery of it is really creepy. Because I could just imagine driving down the side, like, driving on the road, like, one dark night. Yeah. Like on the side of the water, and seeing this, like this ship come out, it's all on fire, and everybody's like running around and stuff. That would be like super creepy,
right?
Super creepy.
Yeah.
So I can see how like it's really appealing, like as a
and spreading the stories
as a legend
too. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that like the people that said they saw it didn't see anything. I'm just saying that,
it might be fabricated.
It's a pretty compelling image.
Yeah.
And people might just. It might behoove them to say they saw it, or embellish some shit that they saw, or like I said, and I've said this, it doesn't have anything to do with the ghost shit, but like one of the weirdest things I ever saw was when I was driving.
Yeah, I remember. I know you're talking.
Yeah, back to work one night.
Yeah.
It wasn't late. It was probably only probably between 8 and 9, I want to say, maybe earlier. And I was just driving home, and I saw what I thought. I didn't think it was a UFO. I at no time did I think it was a UFO. I actually thought it was an asteroid, and I thought it looked so big and so flaming that I was like, well, we're going the way of the dinosaurs. That's what I thought.
You thought it was a big meteor going to
I
wipe
thought
out
it was a big fucking. I thought it was a planet killer.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looked like. Well, no, like the first thing I thought of was a plane blew up. That's the first thing I thought. And then I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like a fucking meteor. I was like, but that's a meteor. We're in big fucking trouble right now because that is massive. You know what I mean? Because you could tell, like, it was almost as big as like the moon would have looked, which, so, you know, it would have been big. And it was like flaming. It looked like it was on fire. And so I was kind of freaking out. So, like, I got back to work, and I'm like, did you guys just look outside? Did you see that? And then I was, like, looking on the internet, like, trying to see him. And, like, apparently nobody saw it but me, so maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
No.
I never did find out what it was.
It's probably a meteor coming pretty much straight at you.
That's what it must
Angle.
have been. That's what it must have been.
Yeah,
Like I
and it
said,
burned out.
my first thought was an exploding plane. That was my first
Yeah.
thought. But then after I said that looks just like a fucking meteor. Like I said, it didn't help that I had just read a book called Death from the Skies.
Yeah.
That was about all the ways, like all the shit from space that could kill you. You know, like a nonfiction book, which is a great book, by the way. It's really entertaining, but it's also like pretty scary. So I had just read that like not too long ago, so I'm like, oh well, we're getting wiped out. So
Probably was a meteor coming straight at you. When she told me about it, I thought about it. You know, I kept asking her over and over again how big it was. You know, like if you held it up. She said if you held it up, it'd probably be about the size of a quarter.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
about right.
that-
Maybe slightly bigger, maybe a $50.
$50, maybe. So probably what it was is it was a small meteor coming basically at her, in her direction.
It must have been coming
So it
right
was just
at.
getting bigger and bigger and
And
bigger.
then it maybe just burned out.
And then it just burned out.
But it looked so big.
Yeah, it wasn't that big. It's just that it was close, maybe
Right.
a mile away when it fell
Maybe
apart.
that's what it
Something
was.
like that. Because a meteor the size of a baseball, a mile away, burning up, would look big.
Yeah.
Because the plasma around it would look big.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have any way to judge how big it was because there's nothing next to it,
Right.
you know. And it just burned out and turned into little glowing.
It must have been because
Droplets.
obviously we're still walking
And
around,
then it
and
just
that was
fell.
and that was many
Fell
years
to
ago.
the ground, but it
I
was-
think that was before I met you, even.
Yeah.
So that was
It
a
probably
while ago.
burned up a mile or so away from you.
Maybe so. But yeah,
And
that
it was
like,
probably, as it was burning
freaky.
up, it was probably only like the size of an acorn.
It was pretty
burning-
weird too, the way
yeah.
that no one else saw it, like, or nobody else like said anything.
Because the
about
angle,
it.
it was coming straight at you. From a distance,
guess.
it probably didn't look that impressive. It probably just looked like a line.
But it's like it's not like it was the middle of the night and no one else was around. It was only like 8 o'clock at night or something.
You just had to, well, they don't last long. You have to
Yeah.
be looking in the right spot. And other people disregarded it because they knew what it was.
Maybe.
Yeah, a fallen star. From a distance, it would just look like a line, like a fallen star. But from your point of view, it was just
It looked like a
getting
huge
bigger,
fireball.
coming straight at
It
you.
looked like a huge
Right.
fireball. Like I said, that looked like I thought a plane exploded.
Yeah.
This is what I thought.
And nothing hit the ground. It probably just turned into little droplets.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, so apparently the flaming ghost ship of Northumberland Strait is so popular in Canada that there was a song that came out in 1988 by a guy named Lenny Gallant, I guess, and he's just kind of like a Canadian singer-songwriter, and he did a song about it, and that kind of like made it more popular like in the 80s. And in 2014, the post office, the Canadian like Post, they put out a stamp with the ghost ship on it, which I thought was kind of cool. Like they put out, they had like a whole series of stamps like based on Canadian ghost stories that they put out on Friday the 13th of that year, which I thought was like kind of a neat idea. But so yeah, they even have like a ghost ship of Northumberland Strait like stamp in Canada, which I thought was pretty cool. But like I said, I don't know if anyone has claimed to have seen it since 2008. That seemed to be like the most recent sighting that I could find of it. There might be more recent ones like that are just floating around out there, but that's kind of the most recent one that was like documented, quote unquote, that was like in a newspaper and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like other people might just be on paranormal forums or whatever and said, oh yeah, I saw that shit. You know what I mean? But you can't like really back that up. I mean, you can't really back up the other shit either, to be honest with you. But yeah. So, all right. So this next story, I have photographs for this. So this is like pretty, this isn't necessarily, it's kind of like a ghost ship story, but it's more like a ghost like ghosts that have to do with a ship kind of story. So this is the story of the SS Watertown. So this happened in 1924. So the ship, the SS Watertown, is sailing in the Pacific in December of 1924, like I said. And there were two guys on the crew. One was named James Courtney, and one was named Michael Meehan. And they were down in, like, the cargo kind of area, like, working down there. Like, they were cleaning or something like that. And apparently, some pipe busted somewhere or something like that and filled the area with, like, some kind of noxious gas. And apparently they weren't aware of it. You know what I mean? So I guess it was a gas that they couldn't smell it or anything. And pretty much immediately, both of them collapsed. Like, and you know.
Look at Pook. She went underneath the carpet.
Did she really?
She's underneath the damn carpet.
Why?
It's ridiculous. She went underneath the damn carpet.
Underneath the rug.
She's underneath the throw rug. It's a little prayer rug. She's underneath. What are you doing underneath there?
She's like, ridiculous. I'm hiding. Shut up.
Okay, I see you.
You can't see me.
Yeah, fucking funny.
She's hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like completely underneath. Underneath the rug.
I can't see me.
Yeah. Okay.
Fucking cats.
Where did Pookie go?
Yeah.
Where did she go? Disappearing Pookie. This oracle. Yeah. She's crazy. She's always trying to get under there. I don't know why. And there's like a huge lump. Like she thinks we can't see her. I can't see you, Pookie. I have no idea where you went. But yeah, so these two guys are down there, and the gas escapes, and they, like, passed out. Now, a guy, apparently, like, another guy, I guess he maybe knew what was going on somehow or something, and he tried to come down to help them. Like, he went through this, he crawled through this, like, little pipe or some shit, like, to get down there, like, help them. And he pulled them both out, but I think by the time that he pulled them both out, it was too late. Like, they were already dead. And the guy that went in there to save them, he was also kind of, he lived, but it took like half an hour for him to kind of like get back to, because the fumes were like really bad, right? But he couldn't save the two guys. He did try, but it was too late. So the two guys died, and as they would do on a ship when some of the crew died, they had like a little funeral on the ship, and then they put the bodies out to sea, because that's just what they would do. The next day, though, right before sunset, the first mate of the ship said that he was looking off the port side and that he saw the two guys' faces, like, in the water, like, in the waves. And he's like, he looked at them and he said he saw their faces and he recognized them and stuff, and he just saw them for about 10 seconds and then they just kind of, like, faded away. And then over the next few days, like, several other crew members also reported seeing these two guys' faces in the water. Now, the ship gets to New Orleans, and the captain, whose name was Keith Tracy, he told his employers, it's like, man, all the crew have been, like, these two guys died on the ship, and now everybody's been seeing, like, their faces, like in the waves, like, on the side of the ship. You know what I mean? So the guy, like, his boss or whatever, is like, well, why don't you try to take a picture and, like, you know, try to take a picture of it. So they did that. So they go back out. They take pictures when they see the faces.
I remember this.
Yeah, you probably know.
Famous.
This is pretty famous. This is pretty famous. And so they hand the camera over to the captain. Like, they take pictures. I think they took, I think it was 6 pictures they took. And then they handed the camera over to the captain, and then they put it into a safe. So it's like nobody could touch it. Apparently, that's how the story goes. And then when they got to the port, they developed the film. And the picture, which, like I said, is very famous in paranormal circles, looks like it shows two guys' faces in the waves next to the ship. And according to all the crew members, they said it looked just like the two guys that had died on the SS Watertown. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. Let me show you the picture that you're most gonna commonly see if you go to, like, a paranormal website, and it's this right here, like these two little faces, like, popping out the waves. So that's pretty creepy, right? Like, it does kind of look like two faces. So That's what the crew were reporting that they had seen, right? And that's the picture that they took, allegedly. Now, also allegedly, they gave the picture to like a detective agency, and they looked at the picture and they looked at the negatives and everything like that, and said that, you know, oh, it didn't look like it had been faked or anything of that nature. Now, the thing that the crew apparently reported, they said when they saw the faces off the side of the ship, they said usually what would happen, the faces would appear, they'd be there for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then they would like fade away. They said the weird thing about it though was that the faces didn't seem to be moving with the ship. It's like they always seem to be the same distance away from each other, and they always seem to be the same distance away from the ship. The heads were also, and I'm not sure if the crew reported this, but I'm going to say a little bit about this in a minute, but it's like the heads looked like larger than normal size heads.
Okay, so they're looking over the railing.
Yeah. The first guy that said he saw it was looking off the port side of the ship.
And they see the faces going with them in a distance. They're not passing them.
No.
The faces are following them.
Kinda, but it's
they're
just
big. They're not within.
They're big, but it seems like they're saying that it's not like, well, I mean, the faces were only there for like a few seconds at a time. It wasn't like they were just sitting there.
Okay.
But it's like they said it just seemed like the faces were just kind of sitting there in the same place, and then they would kind of fade. You know what I'm saying?
And then it would come back.
Yeah, but like later, like it happened like over a few days.
Okay.
That's kind of what they reported.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now, interestingly, so I was, like I said, they tested the negative and everything like that. It said, apparently they said it didn't look like they was faking it or anything like that. They had taken 6 photos, and that was the only one that showed anything unusual, even though apparently they were like, hey, the faces are there, like, take a picture. But it was only the one photo where it came out in. Now, I did find an article online by somebody named Blake Smith. And they had apparently written an article back in 2010 for the good old 40 Times. And his assertion was that he thought the photo had been hoaxed, but not recently, like back in 1925. And one of the things he pointed out is that the photo, it's like it does show the faces on the side of the ship like that, but he's like, if you saw the photo like in full, which I'm going to show you in a minute, because that's not usually the one that they show you. They usually show you that close-up one like that, so you don't have any context. So it's like if you see this photo in full, like if those were like actual faces, they would be like a lot smaller. Like you wouldn't even be able to see them. Like these look like fucking giant-ass heads. Right. And he made the point that it's like the crew didn't report seeing giant-ass ghost heads floating on the side of the thing. I think they said they were like a little bit bigger than normal, but not as big as they would have to be if you are looking at the photo. Because here's the thing. Like I said, if you search ghosts of the SS Watertown, 99% of the pictures that come up will be that one that I just showed you, like the close-up with the crops. However, if you look long enough, you will see the uncropped photo. Here is the uncropped photo.
Because it looked low res. Yeah.
That is the uncropped photo. So look how, if those are heads, look how fucking big they'd have to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's way bigger than a human head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because look at the size of the ship, like, in relation to that. And when you see it from this angle, it doesn't look quite as... it still kind of looks like faces, but...
Also, the one, if you look at the far left... that looks like a face looking at you, too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
if you look at the horizon, at the far left horizon and go down a little bit. You look down, I don't know, about an inch, I guess.
Yeah.
You'll see something that looks like a fucking skull screaming at you in the water.
Yeah.
Next to that wire. There's a wire.
Yeah, so who's that motherfucker?
Yeah, what's that? You're just picking out images.
Yeah, I mean,
your brain has the ability to
does
pick out
look
an
weird,
image.
but it looks a lot less impressive when you see it in the not cropped version. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I can go in underneath those faces. And what is that down there? That's the water? What is... I don't know exactly what I'm saying. I see water splashing over the bow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
You could find a lot of faces down there underneath those other faces, too, in the water. You know,
That's
like
true.
what about this one? What about
Yeah,
that one?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The two eyes and the round mouth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to point at it, but they can't see.
Yeah. But like I said, if you look at it long enough, you can see other things that
Yeah.
look kind of like faces too.
Yeah,
And that's-
I see a face right here.
Yeah, I do too.
You know.
James said, like I said, it's shadows playing a trick on us and our minds put
Yeah.
faces there just like the face on Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems a similar... Like I said, it is creepy looking, but I don't think that's the real... And so I don't know... Because that's the thing. Like, apparently these guys, like, reported it. Like, that they'd seen these dudes' faces, and then they just... That was what gave them the impetus to take a picture of it. But I don't know. There might be another explanation for that, because like I said, this happened in 1924, so it was like a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Well, when you showed the first picture, I was like, damn, that's some low resolution imagery.
Well,
right
that's
there.
why,
That's
because
why,
it
they
came
just
from
blew
like
it
a
up.
much larger
Yeah,
photo.
it was like
And the thing,
1920.
it was taken in the 20s, and like I said, I'm imagining that they probably sourced that like from the newspaper photo, which was
Yeah.
probably super shitty.
And
also.
20s still had good photographic capabilities.
Yeah.
They had good lenses and stuff. They just didn't have color yet.
Yeah.
So I was going like, wow, that's awful blurry. You know, you can see some crisp photos from the 20s.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah.
And that was not one of them.
No.
Well, like I said, these were just, apparently the story behind it was that these are just dudes on a boat
Yeah.
that were like, oh man, we've seen like our dead crewmen floating on the side. Because what a weird random thing to say. Like of two guys that died on the ship, and then they're just like there's heads like floating in the fucking water. You know what I mean? It's crazy. All right, so yeah. So let's talk about this one, which I kind of feel like they think is maybe based on a real thing, but this is kind of like sort of legendary, like the Flying Dutchman type of thing. So this is the ghost ship Kaluche. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now this is again a ghost ship. This has its origins in the Chiloé, I guess it's Chiloé mythology, southern Chile. So this is kind of like a ship having to do with that. This is a fun story, actually. I had never heard of it before. So it goes by a bunch of different names. The Warlock ship, which I like that, or the Enchanted ship, or Barcoiche. I'm not really sure what that means, but that's another name.
What's it called?
It's called the Kaluche.
Marco Iche.
Barcoiche.
Barco means ship. Barco means ship.
Yeah.
What's it? Iche?
Yeah.
Iche ship. I don't know what Iche means, but
Well, yeah.
a
but-
barco is a ship.
Okay. Well, so it's
Yeah.
something ship. Something
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, maybe it just means warlock ship or
Yeah,
something.
maybe.
Because, we'll get into that in a minute. So, this is a ship. There's a bunch of different legends about this. Now, some of the legends about it are kind of like cool. They're all ghostly, but some of them are cool and some of them are like, and good, and like some of them are like evil. You know what I mean? So, this ship is supposed to sail along these canals, like around this area of Chile, super, super fast. Now, another thing is that sometimes it seems to be invisible, but people seem to be like able to sense its presence or hear it. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. But then some people see it too. It's supposedly more seen when it's like foggy outside, like you can see the ship like cutting through the fog. It's supposed to look like an old Spanish galleon. It's supposed to be white. It has 3 masts with 5 sails on it, and that when you see it, it has like lights coming out of every single window on the ship, so it's like blazing with light. Also, another thing that people report is that whenever you see it, it sounds like there's a big party going on the ship. Like you can hear people laughing and talking and music and everything like that. Now, again, the story goes that if anybody goes near the ship, like in a regular ass ship, then it will disappear or become kind of like transparent, and your ship will just go right through it. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, there's different versions of this legend. Now, the oldest version of the legend, which is actually kind of the nice one. So in this version of the legend, the ship is actually not really a ship, but actually like a living being of some kind, which is kind of weird, but that's kind of like the thing. So this is supposedly built by, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, but he's El Milalobo, I guess, which is like a sea god, like in this mythology. So he built it for his kids. Now, his kids, he had 2 daughters and 1 son. Now, one daughter was like a mermaid. And then the other daughter was like a water sprite type thing. And then he also had a son called Pinkoi, but I don't know if he was like a magical creature or anything like that. He might have been just a dude. I don't really know. So apparently the story was that the water sprite and the son would go and like search the oceans for sailors who had died at sea, like in shipwrecks and stuff. And then they would bring their ghosts back to the Caluche, and then they would bring them back to life, and basically they would just let them have like ghost party ship like forever. So it was just like an immortal. That's why like people reported like seeing it, and it was just like sounded like there was laughing and music and everything like that, because it was almost like sailor heaven, it seemed like, but like on a ship, you know what I mean? So they just brought them there like to party forever, so which is kind of nice, I thought.
I was thinking more about, you call it a barco. Barco doesn't mean ship. Navio means ship. Barco probably means vessel. Or
yeah, maybe.
Vessel. Yeah. I know it's a vessel or a boat. I'm just trying to get the exact English translation.
Yeah.
That's fucking fine. Barco. Yeah. Any of you Latin speakers fucking can chime in.
I always thought barco meant something like mouth or something like that.
Boca.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I was kind of close.
Yeah, barco, I think means vessel. Vessel or boat. Yeah. Navio is fucking a ship. That's a big fucking steel multi-deck like the Titanic. That would be a navio. Okay.
Murder Hornet said he didn't see any heads in that picture.
Man, it's because you're tripping, dude. There were faces. Well,
it did kind of look like faces.
Your mind can find faces in anything. It's
but
kind of designed to do that. I can look in the clouds, I'll see a face.
Well, yeah.
If you want to see a face, you go, there's a face.
That's what that is.
Right, yeah.
But it's just,
it's just like, what's his name? It's like old boy said, it's like the face on Mars. It's because your brain's doing it. If you turn that image upside down, you don't see it as well.
And now that they've taken like higher res photos of it,
it's not there.
Absolutely does not look like a face anymore. Yeah. It just looks like a fucking hill, which is what it is.
Yeah, it's just a hill.
But human brains we evolved to recognize faces. Yeah. So if something kind of looks like a face, then you're going to make it look like a face. That's just kind of how your brain works. Everyone's brain works like that. That's what
even
it evolved
the animals.
To do. Yeah,
animals know what a face is. They look right into your face.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's just like it's not.
I think they can read expressions too.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Is she still under there, by the way?
No, she's gone.
Oh, she left. She left a little. That was so funny that she went under there. She's like, I'm hiding. They don't know where I am. She's being sneaky. But yeah, so that was the nice version of the story where it's actually not the mermaid. The water sprite and the sun, they go out and collect all the dead sailors and they're like, come back with us to the ship and you can party forever. And they're just like, okay, that's awesome. So I was like, well, that's kind of nice. But then, of course, there's a lot of other not so nice legends about the ship as well. And in some of these legends, the ship is actually controlled by an evil sorcerer. And in this version, the ship actually kind of goes around looking for live sailors that it can kind of entice onto the ship and then fuck them up and then like make them work on the ship like forever. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like putting them into like ghost servitude, I guess. So yeah, I mean, and it'll abduct people from land too. That's also another part of the legend. Also, I thought this was kind of interesting. So apparently, according to the story, when they get these unfortunate sailors and put them on board the Caluche, the sorcerer, I guess, fuses one of their legs to their spine so they can't walk anymore and they can't leave. You know what I mean? So they're stuck on the boat forever. And they also get transformed into a creature from Chilean mythology called an Invunche, which I guess these are kind of like monsters that would normally like guard the entrance to Warlock caves, because I guess Warlocks have caves. That's where they live.
Point at it again.
Like, where can you see it?
Invunche.
Invunche.
Yeah,
I think it's called. I think it's also called Invunche.
Invunche.
Or Invunche. I've seen both spellings.
V is sometimes pronounced B.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, yeah. So
Invunche.
that's why. So I've seen like Invunche also. Yeah. But apparently, I don't know what these monsters look like in mythology, but they apparently hang out in front of Warlock Caves and like keep people from going in because that's just how they roll. I guess that's their function. So I had never heard of that kind of monster before, but apparently that's a thing. So, so apparently there are stories that if you see the ship with the Warlock on it, you don't want to get your ass kidnapped and like have your leg fused to your thing and get turned into a monster. So what you were supposed to do was you were supposed to hide behind a particular type of tree. Like it had to be a specific kind of tree, like a wineberry tree, because I guess that has like magical properties or something. So that was how you would keep like the evil sorcerer on the ship from like seeing you. You know what I mean? Also, there's another version of the story, which is actually the most modern-ish version. And this version of the story, the ship, is being used by the sorcerers of Chiloe. This is a bunch of sorcerers. And this is their ship. There's a little magical transport. And every 3 months, they all get on the ship and go around on a voyage to increase their powers somehow. Now, in this version, the ship was also made by the sea god that I mentioned earlier, and only the crew can get on board the ship. So when a real person comes by it, like it's like shoop and it like disappears. You know what I mean? There were also legends that, you know, whenever like the ports around the area where the ship was said to be seen, that some of the shop owners and stuff like that would like essentially make like Faustian bargains with the sorcerers on the ship, like for money or success or whatever. So whenever somebody in a village, where in this ship's territory, I guess, would like suddenly come into a lot of money or stuff or something, like everybody would think they were super sus because they're just like, oh my god, you just made a deal with like all the sorcerers on the fucking ship. You know what I mean? So it was that kind of shit. And sometimes they would say that, oh, well, you're letting like all the ghost crew like come in your house and party, or you're letting the sorcerers come in your house and like do like black magic rituals and stuff like that. So like all the people in the village would be like really, really upset about it. There was also, in 1960, there was a big, huge earthquake in that area. And it was really bad. There was like fucking landslides, tsunamis, fires, like the whole fucking deal. Now, even though this was like a really, really bad earthquake that caused like massive destruction, there were a few houses that were not affected at all. And there were stories going around that the people that lived in those houses had made deals with the sorcerers on the ship, like for their house not to get fucked up. So there was that too. So it was like a pretty strong like legend around at the time. And also they said that anybody that in the village that had like a particular type of anchor like outside their house or something like that, that was like a signal to the sorcerers that they were like cool with the sorcerers and they wanted to like make a deal with them or something like that. So that was also like a pretty common legend that they had going on at the time. Now there's also they're kind of thinking that this story might have come from, like I said, legends about the Flying Dutchman, which are pretty common. I think we talked about that on the last show, maybe, or we did a show about it, I'm pretty sure. And that, you know, because that was also supposed to have, like, you know, undead people on it. And also, and this was weird, too, because I looked up and they said, oh, well, maybe it's based on the disappearance of a real ship, which was a Dutch ship, which was called the Kalanche. But I looked that up, and I couldn't find, because there's a Wikipedia page called... list of missing ships or ships lost at sea or whatever, like they don't know where they are. And I couldn't find it on there. That doesn't mean it's like not a real thing. It's weird because when I was looking it up, there's a ship that's called that, the Kalanche, that is, I guess, like floating around. It's not like a ship, but it's like, it's pretty small. But you can kind of like track where it's at, like on a website and stuff. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of weird. But yeah, so I don't know if that Dutch ship really went missing, but that's something that I see a lot, that maybe that's where the story of this came from, but I don't know if that was a real ship or not. I couldn't really find any evidence that that was a real ship, so you know what I mean. However, like skeptics again have said that probably the legends existed prior to that, like about the ship and everything, but what they probably did was that smugglers would kind of play up the legends so that they could like do sketchy shit like without anybody knowing what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh my god, it's the fucking ghost ship. You know what I mean? Which that's pretty clever if that's what they were doing. But yeah, so I don't really know if this is, like I said, it's mostly legendary. So I don't really know if there's like sightings of it. I imagine there are because people have said like described it and stuff. But so there's that. But I thought that was kind of a fun story. I like the idea of a bunch of warlocks on a ship. I also liked the idea of like the ghost party ship. I thought that was kind of nice.
Warlocks on a ship. That sounds like Lovecraft.
It does.
Lovecraft
doesn't
would
it?
have that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arabic, and Mesopotamian warlocks on a ship trying to bring back some kind of ocean god,
Yeah.
fucking Dagon or something.
It does sound very Lovecraftian now that I
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. Well, some of those Lovecraft stories had, the sea was a big element in there.
Yeah.
Ports and fucking.
Because he seemed to be like super scared of seafood, man.
He didn't like seafood. He didn't like anything to have to do with the ocean and people that worked on the ocean, because they weren't all the same race. Yeah.
Horrors.
Yeah. You might have to be working with people of other races when you're out there in the sea. That's not.
Oh my
good.
God,
That's what he
yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah.
He was scared of other white people. So
He was scared of anybody that
Yeah.
wasn't him.
Yeah. Lovecraft was fucking funny.
That wasn't him and his family.
Although to his credit, he got better.
He did get better.
He got better as he got older.
Yeah.
He realized
He kind of got over it.
he realized
a
that
little
other
bit.
people weren't out to get him. That he had fans.
I mean, he had problems.
Yeah.
Let's not say that.
He was xenophobic.
Oh, big time. Like, if
Yeah.
anybody, I mean, if you have the word xenophobia, there should be
Yeah,
a
he's
picture of
xenophobic.
H.P. Lovecraft, like right there.
Yeah. If you didn't speak
Next to-
English, then shit, there's something wrong with you. If you weren't of English descent, there was something wrong with you. Like if you were German or Irish descent, oh shit. No.
Yeah, he did not like that.
No, he didn't like anybody.
He just thought everybody was just like rabble.
to his credit though, he started dating a Jewish girl.
They got married for a little while. I
Got
think.
married, yeah.
And she actually like moved him to New York City.
Yeah. See,
She brought him out of his shell a lot. I
Yeah.
will say.
Yeah.
She was a writer too.
it's the whole thing, got people want to cancel Lovecraft because he's racist. He didn't stay that way. You know what I mean? He was young too, and he was
He was
and
weird.
He was a nerdy dude, very much shut in. He wasn't worldly. And that's really his xenophobia is what caused him to write all that fucking bizarre shit. That's what made him good. If he was a normal dude, you would have forgotten about him. He was just a weird dude.
Yeah, I think that the reason that he came up with that crazy shit was
Yeah.
because he was scared of everything
He was
and
scared of
everybody.
everything. Yeah. He was,
So everybody was like a monster to him.
yeah, and he was scared that God hated you, and that God hated him. So he's writing that. Yeah, in his mind, gods did hate you.
I kind of feel
Yeah.
like he was one of the first. He might
Yeah.
not have been the first dude, but he was one of the first dudes to write about the horror of an indifferent universe,
Yeah.
or like not even indifferent, but like one that actively wanted you
dead.
or like wanted
Yeah.
to destroy
Or
you,
just thought you were scum. You know?
yeah,
There were gods that thought you were scum, and they were.
or
trying
that
to
you were
replace
just completely insignificant,
Yeah.
like an anthill
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, and it was a pantheon. There wasn't one god. There was multitudes of warring gods. None of them created you, and they all hated you or didn't care.
Which
Yeah.
is a pretty frightening concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
You
was the
can
world he lived in.
You can see. Well, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. And
Yeah.
if he hadn't been so weird and had such like mental problems, he might not have come up with that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, had he been a normal guy, he'd never written an engine.
Because I don't think I would have come up with
Nah.
anything like that. Because it's like I'm weird, but I'm not that fucking weird.
Nah, dudes and just women that come up with fucking cool art, they all got issues.
Well, I would argue that the best artists and writers and stuff, you kind of have to have something the matter with you.
Yeah.
You kind of have to have something. The
Well, it's
matter
a
with you.
nerdy endeavor. Okay. Although in Lovecraft, and we're getting off this topic, but I just wanted to fucking give a shout out to Lovecraft. Lovecraft invented the concept of a universe. He invented the MCU. There was a Lovecraft universe filled with fucking monsters and
Well,
gods.
and other
and-
writers got
and
in
other-
on it.
Yeah, and people, and he had a huge fan base who thought that maybe he was telling the truth, that he was somehow the oracle of some kind of an occult truth. That he was somehow in contact with these things. He said he was scared of his one of the things that he was scared of most was his fans. He thought his fans were terrifying.
Well, I can see that.
Because they thought some of them thought that what he was talking about was real.
I would be scared of those kind of people too.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
If
So-
I wrote something and just like pulled it out of my ass and made it up,
Yeah.
and then suddenly I had like all these obsessive people that were like talking to me like it was real, I would
Yeah.
absolutely be terrified of
Yeah.
those people. So I can't blame him for that.
So I'm going to give Lovecraft the credit for in creating the concept of a universe.
Yeah.
like the MCU or DC universe. You know, he had his own.
Yeah.
Way ahead of his time.
Oh yeah, big time. And
Way
like I
ahead of
said,
his
I'm
time.
not really sure because I know there were like some other people doing some shit like that, like Lord Dunsany and stuff. But I don't. He was kind of the first one to like kind of codify it. I
Yeah.
feel like.
One of the greatest products to ever come out of Massachusetts, Boston.
And
Lovecraft.
he's he was from Providence, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Yeah, but I think he lived in Boston though, didn't he?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought he lived in Boston.
Shit, man, he's even buried in Rhode Island.
Is
It says
he?
"I
Okay.
am Providence"
Okay.
with his thing on
Okay.
it. Like he's very.
That's not far though.
I know, but
doing
he's
Providence.
very associated with Providence, Rhode
Okay.
Island. That's where he's from.
All right.
But yeah.
Rhode Island, then.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I used to go to fucking Providence. They had a good golf club in Providence.
My sister used to go
Yeah.
there. She really liked it.
Yeah.
I've never been to Providence. I was kind of interested to go, just because of the Lovecraft connection.
Yeah. We used to go.
And it's not a city you hear a lot about.
No, we would take breaks from Man Rays in Boston, and we'd go to Providence. I'm trying to remember what the name of that club was. I think it was called Club Hell. I think is what it was. I think it was called Club Hell, if I remember correctly. It was pretty good. They were smaller town goths, so you would show up there and you're like, wow, you know what I mean? Fucking, they just,
Wow, you guys are
you
impressive.
guys are from Boston. yeah, that kind
Big
of shit.
city motherfuckers.
Yeah, big city motherfuckers.
Right.
Even though Providence was not a small city,
No, it's
it's
not.
still pretty big too.
It's just you don't really hear a lot.
You don't hear about it.
is
It's not
what
a
I'm
famous
saying.
city.
Like it's not a
Yeah.
super famous city. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's where Lovecraft was from.
Yeah, I liked Providence.
Yeah, it's like Lovecraft is very associated with Providence, and just like Poe is very associated with Baltimore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't think about it.
Huh?
When I went there, I got there. I didn't know how long it would take to drive there the first time I went there. So I ended up about an hour early. The club hadn't opened. And I'm fucking gothed out like fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Fucking, I look like fucking Lestat or some shit. And I'm looking around and says, where's the safe place to go? Fucking, so I saw another goth that was getting ready to go. And I says, man, I want to get a drink before the clubs opens. And I said, where's the safe place to go? He goes, oh, right there, man. Go. He goes, that's the old Queen bar. Fucking go in there, man.
Yeah,
Fucking.
that's always a safe space.
It was like an old man bar. It was like old gay dudes.
Yeah. Like I
So
said,
they're
always
not
a
gonna
safe
fuck
space.
with you
No, of
about the
course
way you're
not.
dressed. Dude, you can't go to a jock bar, especially not back in these days. This is the '90s.
Well, I wouldn't go to a jock bar now.
No. So I go into the Queen bar. I go into the Queen bar, man, and fucking I get fucking red carpet treatment. Didn't even buy a drink. And just you know, the guy, old guy, he's in his 60s. You know, would you mind having a drink with me? And I says, well, you know, I'm straight. I'm just ready to. And he goes, no, it's okay. So you know, so I sat down, had a drink with the old dude. Fucking, I was getting drinks kept coming. And I had to go, listen, guys, because I was like 25 at the time. So, you know, I'm like, listen, guys, I really appreciate this, but I have to go to this other club, and you guys are trying to get me loaded. And they're laughing. They're laughing. You're trying to get me loaded. And I got to get out of here. I can't drink all this shit, man. Fucking, you know, I'll be staggering out of here. This is, you dirty motherfuckers. And they're all fucking laughing. No, I was the center of attention there at that place. But I had makeup on, you know, fucking pale skin, and
Well, yeah, they
fucking
probably love
golf eyeshadow on, and fucking black frock coat, and I was fucking had black fucking tight PVC pants and fucking knee-high Doc Martens and fucking cocktail gloves and fucking all kinds of shit. Fangs, I had fangs in, fucking black hair. I had a fan too. Remember the fucking fan?
Oh, nice.
I had the fan.
I like- you-
I was
you
like
should
right
prob-
out of fucking 17.
Man, you need to do that shit again.
That was back in the day. Had a fan.
You probably need to get bigger sizes now because your arms are enormous.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that would look cool.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of you from back because that was before I met you.
Yeah.
But I've seen you were very old school. Like
Yeah,
I,
real old
I
school.
really liked that.
Everything was retro,
Mm-hmm.
1700s and 1800s, mixed with fetish, bondage gear,
Yeah.
mixed in with it.
I always liked that
Yeah.
that look.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, that's what you got to do. If you don't got a goth bar, you go to the gay bar.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever.
It wasn't just a gay bar; it was a queen bar.
Yeah.
It was old gays.
Yeah.
It was all fucking stuffy and shit with brandy snifters and shit. You know, it wasn't like it was.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like the
they were
sound of
drinking
that.
brandy and
That
shit.
sounds
Fucking-
fun.
Yeah, they had fucking Zach would have loved it. They had fucking pictures of Tom Cruise in his fucking underwear from fucking Risky Business. And that no
Nice.
Risky Business. No, what was the name?
Yeah,
of
it
it?
was risky.
Yeah, and fucking shit like that. up
All
there.
right, I'm gonna ding it
Yeah,
a little
it's
bit
like
of that
that.
because come on. But
It was like that old school bar with fucking fucking railings on this bronze railings
Yeah,
and
I
shit.
like it.
It was like that. Yeah, it was a queen bar.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can't be gassed out. You can't go to.
I felt hot as fuck going in there.
Well, I imagine.
Yeah, it was like what happens when a fucking 20-year-old girl shows up to fucking club and it fucking it's nothing but old men in there. And of course, it was like that.
Old men and old ladies.
Old men. It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you can't, like I said, if you can't find a goth, don't go to a jock bar, don't go to a normie bar, don't go to a sports bar, don't nothing.
They will not understand any of that.
They
shit.
will not understand.
Not back in those days.
Go to the gay bar, go to the
gay
biker or the biker bar.
Yeah,
you probably be alright at a biker bar too.
Yeah, they're like
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they didn't have none of that.
They just got shittier music.
No, I just saw another
bar.
goth that said, "Man, I want to go get something to drink before the club opens. Where's the safe place to go? Go right there, man. It's old Queen bar, gay bar. Fucking okay."
Yeah, like I said, that's a safe
place.
You can go there. It'll be fine. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
No.
Like I said, you go to a jock bar, someone's gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
They're gonna want to fight.
Guarantee it.
They want to fight, and the reason why they're gonna fight is because the girls are gonna show you too much attention.
Well, yeah, they don't like that.
Yeah, they don't like that.
And they don't get it, so.
No.
Yeah, we would never go to places like that when we were younger.
Not in those days.
I don't
even
even
do it now.
I don't even like walking past them, to be honest, because you
Yeah.
always get shit. Like, just even walking past them, like the people walking outside. It was always, like, fucking sketchy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah. Alright, so I only have one more story, and it's kind of short.
Okay.
And then we can talk about whatever you want. Like
Talk about going to get something to eat.
After I pee.
We're going to finish up that Thai food with noodles.
Oh, we still got some?
Yeah, I got enough for both of us.
Nice. Alright, so the last story I'm going to talk about is the Palatine Light. And speaking of Rhode Island, this happens in Rhode Island. Since we were just... So there's a nice segue. So apparently, residents of Block Island, which is a little island like in Rhode Island, you know what I mean? Usually between Christmas and New Year's, like the week between Christmas and New Year's, you see this really creepy light, which is supposed to be this ghost ship called the Palatine. And people have been reported seeing this for hundreds of years. Sometimes the light is really little, sometimes it's really big, like it actually looks like a ship and like kind of looks like a flaming torch type of situation. Now, a lot of people have seen this ghost ship, but they do know that this is actually based on a real story. Now, we don't know all of the details of exactly what happened after, but this is actually like a documented story. So the Palatine Light story is based on something that happened back in 1738. So there was this big British ship called the Princess Augusta, and it left Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And the captain's name was George Long, and there were 14 crew members. And on the ship, the passengers, there were 240 immigrants, mainly German immigrants, and they were going to the United States. Now, the reason that this story eventually ended up being called the Palatine Light was because the passengers were all Palatines, which were, in the 18th century were immigrants from the Middle Rhine area of Germany. So they were actually heading to Philadelphia, where there were some other, so there's some already like German, areas there that they could kind of settle in. So that's where they were going to. Now, the Princess Augusta, pretty much as soon as it set out, well, I don't know if as soon as it set out, but like all kind of during the voyage, kind of a shitty voyage, I'm going to say. The weather was real bad. There was a lot of storms and stuff like that. At some point in the voyage, the water supply was contaminated, and 200 of the passengers and 7 members of the crew, including the captain, died from this contaminated water. So, since the captain had died from this disease, the first mate, whose name was Andrew Brooke, he took over. Now, there was a bunch of storms, the ship was pushed off course, and it was so off course that the ship was basically like floating around for 3 months of, varying storms, trying to get back to like where they were at. You know what I mean? This is 1730, so they didn't really have like a lot of, So because they were out much longer than anticipated, obviously they started running out of food. Now, later on, according to later depositions from the crew members after the whole shit show like took place, they said that the first mate who had taken over as the captain, he was actually making the passengers pay for their food because it was running out. You know what I mean? Which seems kind of a dick move, but okay. Now, he tried to go like a different way, like from Rhode Island to Philadelphia, but the storms kept pushing them all around. And finally, the ship wrecked. There was a snowstorm, and it ended up wrecking at a place called Sandy Point at a couple days after Christmas of 1738. Now, the people that survived the wreck, they did do some depositions of the surviving crew members. And they said the first mate was, again, a real douche. Not only did he make people pay for the, rations, which were dwindling, but he also said that the first mate and the crew, what was left of the crew, they had actually jumped in the boat and rowed to shore, like, while all the passengers were still on the ship. Like, after it had wrecked, they're just like, bye! You know what I mean? Which, again, dick move. Seems like a dick move. Now, apparently, the people who lived on Block Island and saw the shipwreck happen did kind of step up and, like, try to help the people and, like, get them off the ship and get their shit, off the boat and everything like that. 20 of them had died after the wreck from various causes, and they did, like, bury them on the island. And there is apparently still a grave marker there called the Palatine Graves that was put there, like, later on. Now, what happened after the wreck, no one's real clear about it. Now, even though it would seem that the crew members were jerks and didn't help the people get off the boat, just left all the passengers there like, fine, good luck, you know what I mean? So it was that. But they weren't charged for whatever reason. They made it to the mainland, and most of the surviving passengers, like I said, 20 of them did die. They kind of made it to them, but they don't really know what happened after that. They said they know 2 of the survivors stayed on the island and, like, just settled down there and lived there for a long time. Now, the ship, they're not entirely sure what happened to it. They said that maybe, like, some accounts said that it was unsalvageable and they pushed it out to sea to sink, or it was set on fire, to scuttle it, and then it would subsequently sink. There are also stories that there was one woman who went crazy on the ship. Her name is Mary Vanderline, and they tried to get her off the ship, and she wouldn't, like, she refused to come. So she went down with the ship because she just wouldn't come with them. Like, they couldn't rescue her. Now, they did, so, and that's another story. It's like a lot of times they, like, you can still hear her screaming and all that, so that's probably part of the ghost story. So, they have looked for the remains of this ship. They do know that there was that ship. I mean, the ship was a real ship and shit like that, but they're just not sure what exactly happened to it or, like, where it ended up. So they have looked for the wreckage, but they haven't found it yet. Now, they're also, because it's like, it's perfectly possible that the ship wasn't sunk and that, like, it was repaired and then went on to other things. So that could have happened too. But the thing about it is that there's this particular area, Block Island in Rhode Island, is geographically kind of it sort of had a reputation at the time as a place where people would wreck ships on purpose, like, to loot them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know how accurate that reputation is, but it did have that reputation for a while. Get them crash on the rocks or something? Yeah, like what they said that, I don't want to disparage, like, the people are long dead, but I'm just, like, saying people of Block Island back then, there was kind of a reputation that it's like they would, like, put false beacons up and stuff like that, so people would come there and, like, crash on the ship and then they'd take all their shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. And there were also rumors that they killed the people on the ship too. But like I said, I don't know if that's true, but there were kind of, like, rumors going around about that. Now, because of this story, legends kind of grew up around this wreck, which apparently did happen, and it kind of became this ghost ship story. Like I said, so everybody, like, they would see the ship with all these lights on it. Sometimes you'd hear this woman that supposedly went mad and wouldn't come off the ship. Like, you could hear her screaming and all this other kind of stuff. So it's like people have reported seeing that. Also, I think something that helped this story a lot was that the very famous poet John Greenleaf Whittier. In 1867, he wrote a poem about it, and it was called The Wreck of the Palatine. Like I said, the ship wasn't actually called the Palatine. It was actually called, what did I say it was called? The Augusta, or whatever it was called. What did I say it was called? Princess Augusta. It's called the Princess Augusta. I was almost right. But over the years, it became called the Palatine because of the people that were on it. You know what I mean? Were Palatines. So that's what they called it. So he wrote a poem called The Wreck of the Palatine because you know how poets and songwriters love the fucking shipwreck stories. So he wrote a poem about it, and that's why everybody knows it as the Palatine. Right, because that's what he called it. So I don't know, like, what happened in the end of it. They didn't find, like I said, the first mate and the crew, despite how dickish they weren't charged with anything, and they didn't get punished for anything. And as far as I know, the graves are still there of the people that, I believe it was 20 people that, like, died in the wreck, or died after the wreck, and they, like, buried them on the island, and that's still there. But to this day, particularly between Christmas and New Year's, people will say that they see this ship lighted out in the water, like off of Block Island, and it's because of that shipwreck. So there's that. There's that. Kanak says, y'all look awesome as always. Happy to see you guys live again. Happy Halloween month.
Yeah,
Thank
I heard
you
that
very
name a long
much.
time.
Yeah, you haven't
yeah.
been around in a while.
Yeah.
Haven't been around
Yeah,
in
good
a
to have
while.
you back.
Yeah. Camp Guy says, the water that we drink here on Earth is recycled from the piss of dinosaurs from 100 million years ago. I mean, that probably is the case.
It was all fucking comets and shit that hit us from the Kuiper Belt.
all the water.
It's all brought here.
All the water.
Water is common. Common in space, but it's frozen. Frozen hard as rock out there.
Yep.
Carbon is common.
Well, yeah, it's
That's
everywhere.
why hydrocarbons are so common.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Danny Rowling said Tom Cruise did a good job with the film The Others, which there should be a sequel with a different but same.
Others.
Wait a minute. Tom Cruise wasn't in The Others, was he?
The Others. Which one was The Others?
Isn't that, if the one you're talking about, is that like the
two
ghost story?
twins?
No.
That's The Other, I think.
That was The Other. That was from the 70s. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise probably wasn't even, well, he was born, but
Well,
he
they
was
didn't
a baby.
know. I thought maybe there was a
No.
reboot.
No.
Okay.
There was a movie called The Others.
Yeah.
It was a ghost story, like an old school ghost story. And it came out in 2001, 2002. Nicole Kidman was in it. Christopher Eccleston was in it. It's great if you haven't seen it. Like, if you love old school ghost stories, which I do, it's one of my favorite, like, old school ghost stories. It's super creepy.
I never
Like,
even heard of it.
I saw it. Yeah. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good.
Where should see it then?
I don't know if you, I mean, like I said,
like
do you like, if you like shit like The Changeling,
I liked it, yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
like, you'd probably be into it. It's very, very old school. I think it's set during, is it set during World War I or World War II? Now I can't remember. But, because I haven't seen it in a long time. I actually wouldn't mind rewatching it because I really like it. I thought it was super creepy. And it's kind of like, you know what it reminds me of? The Innocents.
Yeah, okay.
If you like The Innocents, you know, like Turn of the Screw.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but because it's her and her two kids, and like the husband is away at war, and they're allergic to light. It's a whole thing, but it's really good. It's really creepy. I like it a lot. But Tom Cruise is not in it. I don't think. Not that I remember. Like I said, I remember. Yeah, Tom Cruise is not in that fucking movie. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay. So, Danny Rowling said he produced the film with his wife at the time. Oh, okay. So he was married to Nicole Kidman at the time. That's what you're talking. Because I was like, Tom Cruise is not in that movie. He would have ruined it.
Oh, stop it.
No, he would have, because
I'm gonna defend Tom.
It's not, but you've never seen the movie.
He's in the Short Man Locket.
It's not the kind of movie that he is good in. Let's put it that way. It's just, if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
This is a Tom Cruise movie starring Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise. All right.
I kind of feel like he should make that movie.
That's all of
That
Tom
would be
Cruise
really funny.
in a Tom Cruise movie as Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Playing Tom Cruise.
Sometimes I forget.
Directed by Tom Cruise. Produced by Tom Cruise.
Edited by Tom Cruise.
Edited by Tom Cruise.
Key grip.
Score by Tom Cruise. Fucking yeah. Hell yeah.
Catered by Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's right.
He even made the fucking
Key
sandwiches.
grip. Tom Cruise.
Hey, I already made that joke.
Yeah.
Best boy, Tom Cruise.
That's right.
What exactly does the best boy do?
I don't know.
I mean, you would think like Zach might know, or somebody that like works in film might know. What is a best boy? I mean, I guess I could look it up on Google. That just occurred to me right now because I always see that in the credits. I'm like, what the fuck does that person do?
Talk all this shit you want about Tom Cruise, man. Fucking, he has never failed to deliver.
I wasn't talking shit about it.
He is.
I was just saying I don't think he would have been good in this movie.
That's what he does right there.
I don't think he would have been good.
When I see a Tom Cruise movie, he gives me Tom Cruise. That's it.
You love Tom Cruise.
Yeah. No, he's good.
You'd let Tom Cruise peg
you. He doesn't have a what? What? No, what?
You'd let Tom Cruise peg you.
No, hell no. Hell no.
I'm just trying to see.
He would never do that. That's out ethics. That's out ethics, man.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah. He'd have to go through auditing afterwards and fucking. Then they'd never let.
But see, that's how they might get around it. It's just like the Catholics do. They can do whatever fucked up shit they want as long as they go to confession, right? So I kind of feel like
but they record it.
If
you're use it against you later.
Well, he doesn't seem to be like want to leave, so he doesn't seem to be that worried about like all the blackmail stuff. I'm sure that they have on him.
Yeah, I don't think they have that much on him. And if they have anything on him, it's going to be casting couch shit.
Yeah,
that's probably if they have something, it's going to be that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah, casting couch bullshit.
Bryce says Tom Cruise can peg me. LOL. See, there you go.
Damn.
See, other people like it. Bryce did.
Damn.
Zach says the best boy. See, I knew you would know. Is kind of an assistant in the electrical department. Helps with the lights and generation check. Right. Okay, I wonder why they call it the best boy though. That seems like a weird
traditional.
I know, but it seems a little disparaging.
No.
A little.
No.
I don't know.
No, you're reading it.
Minimizing.
That's just like Foghorn.
I'm the best boy.
That's just like Foghorn Leghorn running around going, "Come here, boy. Come here, I'll tell you something." And crackers of that era, and I'm old enough to remember crackers when I was a little kid. Mississippi.
Not like Ritz crackers, but like
Mississippi,
like
real Mississippi crackers. All right, fucking, they were
White
old
crackers.
Men when I was a little boy. But I remember they called everybody boy. Everybody. They called everybody boy, and they called everybody son. I tell you what, son. And that's exactly
like my dad. Fuck off,
boy. It's just like saying man or something. It didn't mean anything.
Bryce says it's not gay if he does that because it's Tom Cruise. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So.
But in the olden days, boy didn't mean anything.
Would you kiss Tom Cruise?
Who?
You.
No.
No?
No, that's out of ethics.
No, I'm just saying, in a hypothetical situation, if he was down.
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
I thought you loved him, though.
What does that got to do with love? That's sluttery. What's that got to do? That's got to do with love.
Like I said, I'm just curious.
No,
I like asking you uncomfortable questions to see what you say.
These women and their fantasies. I fucking love Tom Cruise.
No, I do not find Tom Cruise attractive at all.
I like his work. I appreciate his dedication.
But I'm just wondering.
They gave him a lot of shit because he jumped up on Oprah's couch, and he's in Scientology. But had that been anybody else, he'd have been all right.
Yeah, well.
They're coming down on Tom, Yeah, he's
They're
diabolical, according to people inside. According to people inside Scientology, he's diabolical.
I see that.
But it's because Scientology is a fucking paramilitary type situation, and a lot of people that have rank in the military come across as diabolical because they're just trying to get jobs done. I just think it's funny that he takes that seriously, but I guess they have to,
I always thought that was kind of funny too. I'm like, you realize that some dude just made that all up, right?
It's a paramilitary cult, UFO cult, basically, trying to make a motherfucker into a Jedi.
That is, it makes me laugh when they just talk about it so seriously.
Into a
like
wizard,
that.
trying to make him into a wizard.
But I mean, to be fair, I kind of think that about a lot of religions when everybody's like just very, very
It's
dead
not
serious,
crazy.
like talking about like just the little ins and outs of like obviously fantastical, and I'm just like, why are we're grown ups? Can we not like just talk about all that?
It's kind of a rough religion. It's a totalitarian society. I don't really approve of how it's run, but they are doing what L. Ron Hubbard told them to do, pretty much. Although, according to everybody that I've heard and all the Scientologists, high-ranking Scientologists, even with Freddie Prinze, he was like one of the top auditors, and he was like one of the only black guys in Scientology, and he only saw L. Ron Hubbard once. All right, They said he was a fucking weird looking old man in the back of the fucking
He is weird
limousine
looking.
with his fucking
big old
teeth.
fish, his big old fish
And his
lips.
big long fingernails and shit. Yeah, you see, he looked like Colonel Sanders back there.
Yeah, Colonel Sanders was way better looking.
Gave him a Mini 14 gave him a Mini 14 rifle as a fucking as a present. But L. Ron Hubbard was liked by the cult members. He was a good guy. By all accounts, he was a good guy. He was weird. But one of the weird things about him, the things that made him different than any other cult leader, is that he was not sexually abusing any of the women.
That we know of, yeah.
No, they would have said something.
You'd think.
He was surrounded by these little cabin girls in shorts and shit. No, they had fucking, some of those girls said that who left the church said no, he was not sexual. Strangely enough,
Maybe he was
Most
one of
cult
those
leaders-
asexual people. Yeah, like 99.99% of all dudes that start cults do it so they can like fuck underage girls.
yeah, and get money.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah,
Those two things. That's really the only reason.
well, not
that-
just underage girls, but other people's wives.
yeah, that's like
just
the
all
only
women.
reason that they
Yeah.
start a cult. Like money and fucking
Sex.
girls they probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the
But
only two reasons.
Evidently, he wasn't like that, and he'd get up on the fucking bow of the ship with everybody and fucking tell them what was happening on other planets and point at the stars and fucking tell these fucking stories all night long, and people fucking loved it. So the cult liked him. So when he died, he got replaced by David Miscavige, and he was kind of a fucking, he ruled the place with an iron fist, and he didn't know much about Scientology per se. He just knew about the business and the day to day. He was more ruthless. And Tom Cruise was his friend, kinda. They said that David Miscavige talked shit about Tom Cruise behind his back, treated him like a chump.
That sounds like something David Miscavige.
They're
would do.
both short guys. They're a short man mafia things. You know what I mean? Short guys get along. but evidently Miscavige is fucking talking bad about him. You know, like he's a sap.
Like I said, that sounds like something he would
Bitchy
do.
motherfuckers.
Because he just seems like a giant gaping asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bryce says maybe Hubbard was impotent.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
maybe,
maybe. Possibly.
He did have children, but that was from his earlier years. He may have not been able to get it up, maybe.
Yeah.
His health wasn't that good, so that could have been what it is.
Yeah, so it's maybe he just kind of like
Right.
slowly lost interest or just was like, well, I can't do anything, so.
He had wives and girlfriends, but evidently he only kept his activity with them.
Which, like I said, is crazy. Although he did throw his wife under the bus, so that's not cool.
Yeah, made her go to prison.
Made
for
her
what
go
he
to
did.
prison for what he did.
We're changing this subject.
Well, like I said, we were done with the ghost
You
ship
gotta-
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the best boy thing. Zach said, back in the day, the people rigging up lighting, electricity, or cameras would yell out for a bit of assistance by asking someone to send them their best boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
send
okay.
me the-
So that's where it came
Your
from.
best guy.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, you'd think best guy would be a better.
Well, there was,
'Cause
diction
boy-
was different in the word.
boy
used.
implies like a child, which I don't want a child working on the electrical on my movie. Just saying.
Well, they may have been young.
Yeah, but I'm
They
just
may have
saying.
been
Well, like I
teenagers.
said, I'm thinking like of a 5-year-old. Here, I'll do that.
They
for
might have
you.
been teenagers when that term first started. Well, look at infantry. It comes from infanterie, which is like a fucking French word. It means boys. Because in their early French days when all that was going on, the average age is probably 15, 16.
Well, enfant means children,
yeah,
just generally.
yeah.
Garçon
Children,
means
boys.
garçon means boy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it meant they were referring to children or boys. Kids.
Yeah. Child labor.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Well, armies start off with child soldiers.
Yeah, I know.
That's usually how it starts. They're the best. They're good at it because they don't have a concept of death. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those little African child soldiers were fucking deadly. They were effective.
Danny Rowling said, Jenny, is there any chance for Friday's show you'd be able to do a brief history of horror films like what was an option for tonight's show? Just because that would have been an illuminating show. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking if we don't do it Friday night, if I don't have time to like put it together, I was thinking of doing it as a video and putting it up on Halloween because I still want to do it. Like if I have time to do it, then I will because I really want to do it too. So we'll either talk about it on Friday night or I'll make a video. I'll make a video and put it up and try to get it up on Halloween. Okay, so I do actually want to do it but it's crazy because I just saw that Cinemassacre put one up that was like history of horror movies, but what he did was he put up. He just like did a brief thing talking about a movie, like all through the decades. Like it would just be like 2 minutes or something, and then like he just compiled them all together. So it's like, hey, today we're talking 2 minutes about Nosferatu, or today we're talking about Frankenstein, or whatever. So it was fun. I watched it. It ended up being like an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. But it's like I kind of just wanted to do like one long video about it.
Zach's asking, is that Zach asking me to do an Elton impersonation? You talking about Elton John? When did I do an Elton John impersonation?
I don't remember you doing an Elton John,
did.
unless we talked about it, like, because I know we saw that movie Rocket Man a long time ago.
Yeah, I never did an Elton John impression.
Yeah, I don't remember you ever singing like Elton John. I remember you singing like Danzig a lot. I remember
Yeah.
you singing like Roy Orbison a lot.
Yeah.
Who else do you sing like? You can sing like Andrew Eldridge from Sisters of Mercy. You can do that.
A little bit of David Bowie.
Yeah, you can kind of do David Bowie
Yeah.
sometimes. Oh, he meant L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, L.
He
Ron
meant L.
Hubbard.
Ron Hubbard.
Oh,
the
okay.
L. It
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
sounds like the BTK voice, though. I think.
Okay.
You gotta
L. Ron
purse.
Hubbard's like this.
You gotta purse your lips out. Like,
We have to understand that on Regulus C was an entire race of creatures that were had evolved to be in a caste system that was totally focused around the production of ice cream. Chocolate ice cream, strawberry ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Although they didn't call them that, and they didn't come from the same sources, they had their equivalents of those on Regulus C. And whole armies would be formed to fight over who had the best flavor of ice cream. Until one day they invented nuclear weaponry and destroyed each other using airplanes. I'm not gonna answer what we're talking about.
I mean,
that's like something L. Ron Hubbard.
that sounds like some shit he would have come up
Yeah.
with. Not gonna lie.
They invented radiation.
Radioactive ice cream.
They invented it, right? No, they invented radiation.
All right, keep talking for a second because I gotta pee.
I'm done. We're gonna shut it down, Jen. Shut it down.
No, I can't.
You see, look at how she does. I don't want to talk.
pee.
Man, I gotta go fucking cook. I gotta cook. She likes the show to last forever.
No, I don't.
Let's see what's going on. Neapolitan ice cream, yeah. Then once they united the planet after their world wars, they combined all three flavors into a single flavor called what we would call today Neapolitan. So that's why I've delivered it to you all here on the end of our ship here on the Free Winds. And it's a gift from me and Scientology. You will all be raised one step forward on the bridge. So you're now OT. Whatever OT level you are now, I'm going to add one more OT level to you. Which me, it being source, I'm now OT 20. No, just kidding. All right. Bryce says the Maori use boy and girl all the time. I accidentally talked that way to an American, and she let me have it. Yeah, they're sensitive. They're too sensitive. Where that came from was a bunch of crackers in the South, and the crackers just called everybody boy or son, because they were. And a lot of people don't know what a cracker is.
Sorry, I was dying.
A cracker was just an old dude that dressed up Cracker Jack and pretended like he had a job. But he really didn't have a job. He was kind of like the white version of a pimp. Except he didn't even have any hose. He sat on a fucking porch. He's
a porch pimp.
Yeah, he's a porch. He sat on a porch. And
Porch
Colonel
pimp.
Sanders was a cracker. That's exactly how they looked. I remembered them. They'd have different little outfits that they'd wear. And they would act important. And when anything happened, well, so hold on now, son. Hold on. You know, we can't have this here. Chill. With a CH. Chill. They'd say shit like that, you know. And then if they got real famous for being a cracker, they could get a job with the county and become like in Kentucky, they became a Kentucky colonel. And that's what Colonel Sanders
That's what
was.
colonel. Yeah,
He was
he's not like a
Kentucky-
colonel in the military.
No,
he was
he
just
was
a colonel because that was
He
just
was a
like
colonel. He was
an-
so fucking... He
an
was,
honorific that they
Yeah.
gave people just for.
and really all they did is they got a paycheck every month for being a cracker. And they would just...
Why can't I get that?
Huh?
Why
Yeah.
can't I get that?
And they would show up to groundbreaking ceremonies. They'd cut the fucking ribbons. Or
Put the white suit on
yeah,
and just
they'd
be
fucking
like...
jiggle it. And
Yeah.
cheer on this cheer day, we shall commemorate, the breaking of the ground of the new bank that we're gonna build right here in this town right here today. And then, okay, y'all. And then they'd have like a, fucking some beauty queen back there, fucking with her sash, fucking waving. They take a picture. They put that in the newspaper, the local newspaper. That's all it was.
Yeah, you didn't actually have to, like, do
They didn't have jobs.
anything.
No, but neither did beauty queens.
Well, yeah.
That's not a job either.
No.
But they take pictures of it and pretend like they had a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it was. White people ran a show, it was in the South. If black people ran a show, then they'd have their own equivalents of that. They'd have some dude who's a pimp. He didn't have a hoe. Yeah, we're gonna put the bank here. Like it'd be the same thing.
Probably.
There was no difference really between white people and black people of the old South. They were pretty much the same. The only difference was the color and the family recipes of the food. They ate basically the same thing.
Yeah, there were a lot of...
It was the same English. A lot of Ebonics is actually just Southern stuff, Just that black people moved north and they took it with them. But all my friends, all my dad's friends, if you were to hear them over the phone, and they're a generation older than me, they're old men now. If you heard any of my dad's friends over the phone, you'd think they were black. They're not, though. They're white. They're just very deep South Mississippi.
Zach says, damn, now I want mint chocolate chip ice cream. And put some peanut butter on it. I don't think I've ever put peanut butter on mint chocolate chip. I have melted peanut butter and put it on other flavors. Like just regular chocolate chip or vanilla.
I'm going to give you an example of who my dad's friends, and my dad and who my dad sounds like, and all his friends sound like. If you go on YouTube and you go Google, go search the Hodge twins. There's two twins. They're Marine guys. They're light-skinned, kind of black guys. They're from Alabama, deep parts of Alabama. My dad and all his friends sound just like that. If you heard them over the phone, you would know what color they were. You'd think they were black. And Jenny will tell you, when I start talking to my dad over the phone, I just get more and more like that. At 10 minutes into it, I'm totally into that dialect. And I don't think about it. It's just subconscious. I have to hear it. If I hear it, then I just respond that way.
Well, a lot of times if you're around people that talk in a certain way, you're going to start talking like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I grew up around a guy who sounded like that.
Yeah. Well, shit, I lived in the UK for a little while, and I came back, and everybody said I sounded funny.
Sounded British, yeah.
So, and I didn't mean to pick it up. I didn't
Right.
I wasn't trying to be like Madonna or nothing like that. I was just kind of...
But I'll even use
I
expressions.
didn't even realize.
It is a different dialect, though. I'll just, without thinking about it, use expressions, and words that they would understand, another person wouldn't understand. Like, only somebody in Mississippi would know what a golly nipper is. You don't know what a golly nipper is.
I've heard that word, though.
Yeah. Golly nipper is a mosquito or a mosquito hawk. Anything that flies and it's got long legs.
We have
that's a
another
golly
word for that,
nipper.
but I can't remember what it is.
golly
Because my
nipper.
grandfather used to call him something, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what the word was. But it was something similar to that.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'd kind of heard something
Yeah.
like that before. All right, so I guess it's almost 10 o'clock, so we're going to wrap it up. We're going to go eat some Thai curry that Tom made the other day.
Yep.
Which sounds really good.
Yeah.
And we might find some fun shit to watch.
Okay.
All right, so thank you everybody for dropping by. Thanks for super chats as always. We are going to be back again on Friday night for our really fun sidetrack show. Like I said, we might be doing history of horror movies, but I might just make a separate video for that to put up on Halloween because I wanted to do something for Halloween. So I was thinking maybe I would do that if I have time to like write it all out and everything like that. We'll see how it goes over the next few days. But yeah, so again, hope you guys have a good evening. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again on Friday night. Good night.